In 5, 4, 3. People can see you. Oh.
I'm warming.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm territory. I hope this isn't good.
You know what? But you know what? Just because you're in it doesn't mean you're gonna have to. You can take your dick out. I'm just telling you right now. So the first thing I do. So let's do a recap of last week's session.
Oh boy.
I want to do a recap.
Pretty
epic
session last game.
Of the whole thing. Now that we're done this arc, kind of.
The what?
Well, for our new player, we should explain what happened.
Sure. How many sessions did you watch?
I only watched one, and I was in and out because I was making dinner.
Did you when you were taking your dick out as well? When you're
one of you went off on
Are you, like,
some
streaming?
tirade like this, and I was like,
This happens.
That happens more than you think.
This always happens. This is why it's my game. This is my basement. It's my house. I rule the roost.
So
I get to go on these tirades, and you have to fucking sit and take it. It's really wonderful.
You can jim the camera though.
I do that a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fair.
So we were in Russia. We went to Bridgetown, and there was a really big ship coming in. When we got to Bridgetown, we found out that the king's daughter had been kidnapped, and so we were tasked.
We're bridging the fuck out of this because there's way more than that.
Well, we're
just doing this mission this time.
No, I know, but even this arc.
Yes, I'm skipping along.
Yeah,
there
you're
were
skipping the
catalysts,
cable part, but that's good because I don't think that really counts.
So we go searching for the princess and find out that the princess was kidnapped by the prince who was trying to get to power. We were still looking around when the world cutter came crashing into town, killing thousands of innocent people.
That was a cripple.
So we got onto the ship and we found this castle.
So just to give a little bit of a thing, the ship is like the size of an aircraft carrier. It's a gigantic ship. And so on board the ship, there's this huge sort of like twisted evil jungle, and growing out of that twisted evil jungle is this sort of like almost like a sandcastle, but it's made out of sandstone. It's like limestone. It's sort of like almost organically growing up out of the forest.
So we found this big cathedral room full of water and decided to drain it for whatever reason. It was mostly an accident, and a bunch of vampires came to life. We went down to the ship looking for the princess. Went back in time, found this guy in the past and brought him back to the future. We found out we were hiding the princess, and then Josh killed a bunch of motherfuckers. We took the princess and we left.
Okay.
So, successful mission.
Okay.
Ruben only died once or twice.
Well, he only died once. The second time he
No, he hasn't died yet, because Igor is still alive. So, the chick is an elder vampire now.
Yeah. Some things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the team's doctor, and I have the highest kill count.
Yes. Well, you massacred 60 people.
I mean, if we're gonna count that thing that happened in the square as my fault too, then it's a lot more than 60.
That was my fault.
That
was largely my fault.
There's a lot of like inside jokes and inside stories because these guys have been playing for 9 months. So you'll get, if you keep coming, you'll eventually be part of those inside jokes, and then you'll be showing it up with this.
Josh and I hated each other in the beginning, but now we're best friends. We've saved each other's lives a couple times.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So after your sort of triumphant exit from the Citadel, who's carrying the fetus?
That's me.
Okay.
I have the fetus.
You slack John Yoko? Fetus the slack? Okay. Anyway, just figuring out who still has that. So you guys exit the Citadel, and as you exit, it bursts into fire and around. None of that crazy stuff happens. You manage to like navigate your way back out quite safely, and you make your way back to the Sabbatarian camp, where the residents there are pretty surprised to see you coming back, especially when you regale them of the news that you managed to slay the evil within and stop the the elder vampire from being rejuvenated to take out the castle and thereby take out, you essentially saved the world. Which is a pretty awesome thing for a party of peeps to do. When you get there, the main priest who's in charge is you sort of interrupted him. He was chatting with a man that kind of looks like he came out of the 1940s, sort of just wearing like a very simple, like a Russian, very old school Russian suit with like a ruff on his neck, little glasses on his nose, and like he's like slightly balding, but he pretends that he's not, and he wears like a cap, and they were babbling excitedly in Russian, and this man has a briefcase with papers spilling out of it, and the papers have like weird like occultic symbols written on them, and like all these like hastily drawn notes, and it looks like he's got like there's some sort of ancient tomb that probably looks like it's 200 years old and is probably worth like 3 or 4 gold pieces, but it looks like he's been writing in the sides of the margins and drawing stuff and putting in, almost treating it like a notebook. And that's actually your character here that I'm describing right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So just so you know.
Well, aren't I a younger guy?
Yeah. Well, no, you're 27 is
Yeah.
older than a lot of these guys.
Okay. All right.
29.
Yeah. So you're all around that same age.
Okay. All right.
But
I was just making sure that
yeah.
threw me a little.
yeah, no, that's fine. So that's why when you lose your hair, you wear a hat all the time. It's very accurate. And anyway, and you know, you've been at this camp. You actually traveled to Bridgeport to see the Bridgetown, to see this World Cutter ship come in, and when it blasted into the bridge, throwing everyone into disarray, you sort of spent your time talking to various people around, trying to get the right story. You weren't allowed on the boat. By the time you got to where the boat had sort of crashed into the bridge, there was this huge barricade that was put up around it, and they were, you know, all the guards from the palace were stopping people from going on board the boat because obviously there was some nefarious evil happening. But you wanted to try your hardest to get onto the boat to see what was happening, and so under the cover of night, you managed to hide yourself in a cardboard box that got delivered onto the boat with other supplies, and you emerged on the, you pop out and the box like flew away, and you were able to manage to make your way to this camp where you met these other Sabbatarians who you've been kind of chummy with ever since. And because you have an immense amount of, even though you might not have a lot of field experience, you have a lot of book smarts. So you've been excited to meet someone who was able to sort of meet your own excitement of all the stuff that's been happening and all the things that you're skilled about. And so this guy has sort of, he's walked the walk and you talk the talk. So you kind of came together and have been drinking whiskey and you know, shooting the ship for the last few days probably now, and finally now these guys have come back and they've sort of told you about how they have destroyed the castle and managed to emerge triumphant.
And one more time, the castle is within the boat.
That's right.
Got it.
And we have a 15-year-old girl with us.
You do. You have a 15-year-old girl with you. What are you going to do with the 15-year-old girl?
Probably get some food or something first, because she's dying.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like emaciated in a cage when we found her, so.
Yeah, we should probably feed her.
Yeah,
That's
give her some water and clothes that aren't covered in her own shit.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So this was the princess that was
Yeah. I don't even know if we ever heard the princess's name.
Pretty sure we did.
I'm pretty sure the king
Oh,
told us.
Amelia.
There we go.
Okay. Nice crit, Josh.
Yeah, right.
Excellent. Okay. Let me just get my eye drops. Let me get my tape so I can see. Yes!
So were you born on a Saturday as well?
Apparently, yeah.
Neat. Quite a coincidence.
Yeah.
Sabbatarius. Yeah, I got the rundown of the story. Alright, but I'm not supposed to tell you about my guy, right?
I mean,
No, when we start talking,
Yeah.
you can
okay.
you can hide or disclose what you
Yeah,
want to.
It's
I
like-
don't just go, hey, my guy.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
No, you can like you gotta think of it like when you just met a bunch of strangers, what would you tell them about yourself? Sort of thing. Like, so you don't think from your character's perspective, what would you like want these people that just met you to know about you?
Okay.
Because they're strangers and we're probably covered in blood and God knows what.
Not me.
Oh yeah, well you're
Yeah, something you should know about my character, I've got a shtick, and then my clothes are always in fantastic condition. And I had my face crushed in at one point. Blood was pouring everywhere, but it just bounces off the clothes.
Okay. Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Nice clothes, do we know?
I look like a young Mandy Patinkin.
Great.
Yeah, from like Princess Bride days.
Let's see what that is. That helps too. My buddy was giving me some advice on how to play. I don't think I'll heed it.
I like to punch problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. My character is gradually becoming Saitama from One Punch Man.
So
I've killed...
well done.
That was my fault. I
I've
was
killed...
trying to get rid of those messages and I hit the fucking gauntlet.
I've killed, I think, at least 9 enemies with one punch. Most of them were wolves.
Yeah.
I've punched a lot of
You
wolves
have
to
punched
death.
a lot of wolves. It's been on a really fucking strange journey so far.
Yeah. Well, we fought Satan. Or Diablo, I mean.
Yeah.
There was a guy who turned into Diablo. Yeah. Ruben cut his head off.
Ruined his day pretty hard.
Yeah, Ruben, way to go! Cutting his stupid fucking head off.
Yeah, actually, way to go. We didn't die in that adventure.
Dying.
Well, we almost died.
Yeah, well, you two almost
We
died.
always almost die though.
Yeah, you guys do.
Well, I mean, by proxy you would die too.
There was that one time when Ruben almost killed me.
When was it? Oh!
When he headbutted me,
When
and I
you
was
were,
at like
when you were
minus 40
trying to
feet.
kill me.
I tripped over my dick into godhood.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't fun.
Try that again, Ruben.
Uh-huh.
These are all of my fighting skills now.
Okay. So, you guys sort of get the princess some. They don't really have any clothes for her to wear at this sort of camp, so they just give her a big like bear skin to put around her shoulders to keep her warm. Of course, now that you're back on like the front of the boat again and you're sort of making your way downtown, you sort of find that it's sort of getting colder, and you've almost forgotten what it's like to be outside. There's like a chill, sort of a hail, a light hail that's blowing in, a dusty hail, sort of. I mean, like dusting the the camp. And yeah, so what are your plans? Are you going to? Are you gonna?
I want to talk to the guy about the fetus.
Yeah,
and
no, we gotta find out what the hell's in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you bring the, are you just gonna take the baby out? Is that the plan?
I'm
or is
gonna
that
ask him to go somewhere private.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm tagging along for this one too.
Okay. Okay.
I need to know.
Are you gonna? This guy is sort of like, kind of tripping on your coattails everywhere you go because he's
Okay.
just sort of like, think of him as sort of like a like a
Like a
rabid
mouse?
fan. Like he's a really like imagine you're Justin Bieber and
Yeah, I'll turn that off.
you don't rattle anybody?
Battle everybody.
I thought it said rattle. I heard rattle.
I thought it said I have a baby body.
It does said that as well.
I have a baby body.
I'm gonna make a ringtone that has that in it, and we can change it. You can use that instead.
Yeah, so bring him back around. Listen, I found a fetus.
Like a desiccated dried fetus.
I believe so. Yes, it's fairly desiccated as far as fetuses go.
It says you must bring that to the caravan post haste.
Okay.
It obviously carries some sort of great artifact of power. So great, in fact, that it was entrusted to, a baby's dead body. It turns to you. You can roll. Why don't you roll on a cult?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, I don't understand when to jump in, but my guy's curious. He's leaning in. He's trying to get.
I'm just like easing you into the game. So you always roll. Just to let you know, you're always rolling 6-sided dice.
6-sided.
And you're always rolling 3 of them.
And I always roll.
Well, sometimes for damage, sometimes you might roll less.
Okay. So my guy's. What am I rolling for
You're
again?
rolling on a cult.
Okay. Can I also roll on sight? My guy's sense of sight. Can I check these guys out?
Yeah.
You could just look at us.
Yeah, you don't have to roll. So sight would be if you're like looking for something that's difficult to see.
Like
it's like far away and you're like
probably describe what we look like. That would be helpful.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? That'd be a good idea.
My character's about 5'11".
We're all 5'11".
Yeah, it's just we are all 5'11".
I'm 1 inch shorter than
Yeah, we're all around the same.
Well, he's 5'10", I think.
This is a weird coincidence that sort of happened. Fairly like emaciated looking. He kind of looks like, I guess most of terms like thin white Duke era David Bowie is kind of like what he would generally look like now, like just scrawny, super pale. It's like most of his hair is missing at this point too, and he's like wearing very tattered clothes. And he has a wolf eye instead of a left eye. That was a thing that happened too.
Just to also let you know, he sort of has this strange, like his skin has like a waxy pallor to it. He sort of looks like a wax figure. He doesn't look, he almost looks like he's artificial. Like you're not sort of like, kind of looks weird and it looks a little off. Can I see your skills for a second?
If I were describing my appearance, I would say I look very loud, because along with the purple parachute pants, everything else I own is dusty rose colored. So a lot of pink and purple.
He looks like the kind of person that, like, whenever they walk into a room, a Spanish guitar should be playing in the background. Like, as the door opens, it should be...
So roll on observation first. So if you look down in your skills, you see that the skill, it's all alphabetical. So you see how there's a 12 beside it? That means you have to roll under 12 in order to pass.
Okay, but I'm already looking at these.
Well, I don't know, but I'm asking you to roll for something. So I'll say ask you to
12.
You're gonna roll under 12. Okay, so I was gonna ask you if you succeeded there. I was gonna ask you to roll a different skill, but since you failed there, do we just continue?
Okay.
Okay. So
So, and what do you look like?
well, my guy is sort of like a well-groomed, sort of nobleman-looking guy. He's very handsome. He's got...
Yeah, he is.
Hmm?
Yeah.
He's got like short, slicked back hair. That's black, but it has like weird white like streaks in it.
And your chest. Do you have the picture?
Hmm? Oh yeah, and I'm wearing crazy steampunk armor.
Right, cool.
I'm also missing a hand.
No, you got it back from the potion.
Right, yeah. And his dick's hanging out.
No, that'll probably be me, actually.
Oh, it's your dick's hanging out. Okay.
Alright, so I don't need to use first aid or anything like that. You guys were all good.
No, they all look fairly good. So now you can roll on occultism. So again, now you're going to roll 3 dice, and you're going to roll look under occult. It's again alphabetical order, and you're going to roll under 12.
Under 12. What is the IQ 1?
That's what it comes up to.
No.
Okay, you're rolling real good so far. Yeah, so you have no clue what the dead baby's used for.
No, I still have no.
Well, that was what you were rolling for, right?
Yeah,
Keep
that's
those
fine.
dice in front of you because you'll be
Yeah,
every once in a
that's
while
fine.
you'll be rolling.
I shot for it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, you didn't get it. Right.
Still clueless.
It's better to get the bad rolls out of the way now.
Yes.
That's
not how
Or
it
like
works.
Josh and never get them out of the way. You know, that's the other way to do it. So, so the guy basically sort of like turns to you and kind of says so often artifacts of great power are stored inside of a fetus of a child because a child is innocent, and so if the child's innocence is sort of like imbued with its body, and so it operates kind of like an RFID wallet does. You know, you put something inside it, and nothing outside can. So let's say there's an immense evil inside it that, you know, if you were to take it, if you were to put it in a bag, it would talk to you and say, "Let me out and swallow me, and I'm going to turn you into a gigantic demon," or, you know, "Do this with me, and, you know, we'll be," or whatever. It's like this crazy evil, but also the other thing it protects it from is from other people being able to sense it. So people that have the ability to sense magic or to be able to sense evil or be able to sense whatever, they would use a baby because it would be so powerful that people that are able to scry, people that are able to like detect on like the winds or detect you know, in the world, like there's a direction of an artifact. This would be the equivalent of a gigantic tower with lights above it screaming, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here," all the time. So when you put it inside this dead baby, it basically keeps it inert. But you could also put an artifact of extreme good in it as well. It doesn't have to be bad, it can be good as well. It stores anything and keeps it inert. Now, because it was owned by someone that was you know, extremely evil and trying to raise a vampire, and you know, and Josh's character was almost thrown out of the window because the character wanted to have this, thought that his character had it. It's obviously probably something pretty bad. So yeah, so the cleric at the camp basically tells you, like, you know, with all due haste, you should bring it back, and there's actually a Sabbatarian on the boat named Montgomery who's going to come with you and make sure that you're safe on your way back.
Excellent. Montgomery Ward is an old friend of ours.
Yeah. He was basically our teacher from the first mission, or like our guide, I guess.
Yeah. And he's Raphael from Soul Calibur.
Basically.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so that's where we are. We don't need any of these maps anymore. Just gonna put them all away. Fresh maps in. You'd like a fresh piece of paper? Take some notes. So it is really, so it's all completely up to you if you take notes from anything that's being talked about. Jim takes pretty detailed notes as to like names of people, things that he hears, things that, so that when he plays other games,
comments, Josh.
yeah. So when he plays,
What do you
like,
want?
he's got like pages and pages of little scribblings. So if you want to, you know, you're welcome to do that, because just to let you know, like, if I give you an item or if I tell you a piece of information, if you don't write it down, or if you know, and then later you say, "Oh, what was that you said?" I'm not going to tell you. Because you learn it in, unless it's something that everyone knows and it's like a common knowledge for the world. If it's something that a character told you or something that somebody said, a name of someone, you know, the sisters.
Yeah. You never found out what happened to them.
No.
It's true.
No.
Yeah.
Well, where's M Dubs at?
Oh, he's out. He's in the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Bridgetown is the city.
Her doctor? Tinkerer? I don't have a title for you yet.
Tinker is fine, I suppose.
Okay.
It's accurate.
All right.
Did you say Dinkerer?
Tinkerer.
Oh, Tinkerer. Okay.
Yes.
So nothing to do with dinks.
Not yet.
Okay.
We're building up to it, John.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay. It's always building up.
9 months build up so far.
Yeah. It's a slow dink up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. I think before we head back to the caravan, we should probably bring the princess to her castle. Yeah. If there's still much of a castle or city to go back to.
I'm sure there's something there.
Hopefully they've started to rebuild.
Also, is the princess like regained consciousness? Like not necessarily consciousness, but is she like lucid now at least?
She's conscious, but she has severe like PTSD. She has no clue what's going. Like she can't walk. Like her legs just like buckle underneath her whenever she tries to sit down, or whenever she tries to stand up, and she is just basically. She's just clinging to Ruben's character. Like she won't let go of him.
Okay.
Because he's the one that I guess opened her cage. Cool. So he's just like every time like he tries to like put her down so that he can like get her some food or get she just like back up like attached to him.
Like a duck.
Yeah. So you've got this like small, frail, warm 15-year-old woman attached to you, and you can feel her heart beating like a sparrow.
What kind of DR does she grant?
None. No DR.
At least a 1.
Maybe a 1, I guess. DR is damage resistant, so he's basically saying if someone shoots him.
I mean, she is kind of paper thin now, so maybe not even that.
That's the joke.
You're fucking joke, Joe.
All right.
We're friends now, John.
So as you start approaching the front of the boat, you can see that at the front it seems like there is a number of small tents, temporary tents, temporary tents set up, and they all have the banner of the king flying. And there's a number of like medical tents, and there's like little food camps, and there's a ton of sort of what look like, I guess they're soldiers all on cots, and you as you approach, one of the guards recognizes the princess right away and starts like shouting, and a whole bunch of other guards come, and they're all kind of like a little gobsmacked again that she's been rescued.
Yeah.
You learn from the guard that's in charge there that they put this like forward camp, so to speak, on the boat, and they've been sending other guards onto the boat to try and find out what's been happening, but they just keep getting basically maimed and by monsters or robbed by bandits, and they just, even if they send 5 or 6 together, 1 or 2 come back alive just gibbering about the horrors that they've seen, and so that's why this is huge sort of makeshift field hospital that's there.
Is there a new captain of the guard now?
No. Okay. Well, I mean, this guy is sort of like a sergeant. Like there's no. It's only been like
he's 3
days, I think, 4 days, and I don't even think it's been 3 days.
You don't have a head count, right? You just
with which?
Well, who's like in this front guard? Who's left in? You're still on the boat.
Yeah, you're still on the boat.
Oh,
yeah. Right. So if you look, you see that you'd guess that there's maybe 35 or 40 soldiers that are on cots, sort of covered by a gigantic tarp, and there's like a couple doctors or sawbones that are like running around like doing surgery. We're trying to get these people back into fighting shape. The sergeant also tells you that the reason why they haven't been moved into the real medical facilities on the Bridgetown is because there's risk of potential supernatural infection, and they're really not sure what the fuck they're doing. So just to let you know, in this world, most of the people don't really know anything about supernatural.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys are kind of Sabbatarians, are naturally attuned to the supernatural. Is that your water or is that mine?
It's mine.
Okay.
But you can have.
No. I have a glass.
Psst. Psst. What? You notice that guy's still following us?
Yeah.
He seems harmless enough.
Yeah.
Isn't that a little weird?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm definitely talking loud enough that you can hear this, by the way.
Yeah. So I chime in at any point.
Yeah.
So, alright, my guy's fumbling with his papers, and he seems overly obsessed with them. And he notices you talking to him, and he says, I've got to get explanations.
Explanations about what?
He just repeats it again. He's just spattering, grabbing his papers. He says, "I've just got to get explanations," and he's saying it in a thick German accent.
Oh, cool. Another one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's me. My character's very German.
He's German, I'm Brazilian, Russian.
You can always introduce yourself to the party as well.
Oh,
I've given you a name, but you don't have to go by that name. You can use whatever name you want.
okay. Yeah, I'll just. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not going to qualify myself now because I can't think of anything more original than this, and I don't really want to use that.
Well, you can use that temporarily and change it later if you want.
It will stick.
Yeah.
It will stick.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. My name is Dr. Boris Borisovich.
Boris Borisovich.
Any relation to Igor Igorson?
Yeah, they're very similar. Yeah.
Boris Borisovich. So that's the deal.
Okay.
And I'm obsessed with trying to get answers, and it's unclear to what. I'm just a Klingon.
Well,
Okay.
I am Eduardo Suarez. This is the kind air doctor. Don't say the full name.
I'm saying the full
Don't say the full name.
I'm saying the full name. Because I wrote the unnecessarily long name for a reason. I'm the good Herr Dr. Fox Sigrid von Himmelstrom as the fourth at Joseph's. He says kind of sarcastically and tired because he's just had nothing but the shit kicked out of him for the past like 3 weeks.
Okay.
I'm Odan Mesarosh.
Okay. All right. So I've made my introductions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, since we're at this like forward operating camera, I'm gonna ask the captain of the guard if there's anyone who's seemingly
No, please, Sergeant. Just Sergeant.
Okay.
No one could replace the captain. God rest his soul.
Is there anyone who's in need of urgent medical attention?
Oh,
So
yes,
that can help.
yes, there is a couple. There's a
Okay.
man here who has had his leg bitten off by
Okay.
another human, he says.
That'll
Who kept
happen.
on complaining and babbling about needing more protein in his diet. I don't know.
Okay.
Please help him. He's losing immense amounts of blood.
Okay. So
We're not able to staunch the wound.
Okay.
It's just bubbling. It's terrible. I don't know what to do.
How long has he been like this?
Well, for about 40 days. No, about a day and a half now. I think he's bleeding out pretty badly.
Okay.
Here, doctor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a look at that. You guys deal with the whole princess situation. I will go and try and help these people.
Well, we need to
Okay.
take the princess to mainland.
Yeah. But I mean, you should probably talk to get like a proper escort for us or something.
We have an
What's that?
escort.
Roll your dice.
So maybe my guy can chime in with which way, like ask which way I'm going. You know, like as if I'm being assigned, like I'm already part of the group. You know, like, which way.
Yeah. Now, instead of saying like my guy would say, you just say it.
You just say it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's going to be like, Eddie, where are you? Where are we
Be
going?
like, which group am I going with?
So,
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
There we go.
There you go. Now
So
you're
that'll
in.
be
Congratulations. Welcome to role-playing.
Yeah.
Yours is so Russian.
Yeah, see, he did it right away. Perfect.
Yeah. So okay, what am I rolling on? Position or
Physician, yeah.
or
Physician, heal thyself.
Okay, cool. 12 on 15.
Okay, yeah. So you within like seconds, you're able to sort of realize, like you sort of like dig with a little pair of forceps inside the man's leg,
Yeah.
and you find the artery that's like, I guess the sawbone sort of tried to sew it up and did a really shitty job, and there was this blood still pumping out. So you clip it off and you sort of sew it closed right away, and the blood stops.
Okay.
The doctor is so happy with you as he's sort of bubbling, talking to you. He basically sticks a needle in his own arm, and then sticks the needle in the other guy's arm, and then just like lays down and like goes, like he's just exhausted. He's been working on this guy for hours, so it's just like, I'm just gonna transfuse this guy now, and
Go to sleep.
go to sleep, pumping my blood into his
Well,
veins.
that doctor's dying.
Yeah, probably.
Oh well.
Is there anyone else that looks like they need urgent attention? Or
There's a lot of people there that are past help.
okay.
Like they're there and they're sort of like giving them drugs and they're sort of like being like they're there.
The most
for
thing
the
you
most
do
part,
is make them comfortable.
yeah,
with
yeah.
that.
It's more like a hospice
Yeah.
than it is a hospital.
Okay.
So anyone, even though like the sergeant gave you the reason that they haven't brought anyone on board is because of supernatural infection. they know that most of the people here are a lost cause, and so they're just like, I'll let them die here in case there's something that is taking them over in some way that will spread throughout the rest of the city, because they have no clue what's on this boat.
Yeah. Okay. So we should probably move on then.
Yeah.
All right, so we head off towards the castle.
Okay. Make our way downtown.
Walking fast.
Faces fast.
And we'll head down.
Go die.
That's an inside joke. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. You got it? You on it? You're on board?
I got it. It wasn't for me. I was like,
So anyway, so you guys make it to the castle. The sergeant has actually split off from the group. He put someone else in charge, and he's basically escorting you through the city. There's actually like I'm gonna draw the city again for all you fine folks.
Oh, did you lose the last one?
Pardon?
Did you lose the last one?
I don't know what it is. I just better to. So this is like where the boats sort of like come in and like smashed in.
My horse is still alive. It's probably
Who?
not my horse.
Your
So
horse?
this is the boat.
Yeah,
here.
they were
This
on
is
the other end
bridge.
of town.
I know, but I mean, it's a crisis situation. It's like the first thing that you eat.
So when you get on board, when you get off the ship, it feels really, even though you know that, you couldn't feel the ship moving at all. When you get all back off the ship, it sort of feels weird to be like back on like dry land, so to speak. There is like a bunch of, so that the castle is up in this corner here, in this like, there's a wall with minarets, and the castle is sort of inside there with gates. And there's sort of like a wooden run of just planks basically that have been set up to give access to stop, because when you get into this like wooden channel, I guess, so to speak, there are no holes in here, but there's ladders that lead up to what look like to be maybe there's a tower every few hundred meters. There's like a temporary tower that's been erected, and there's ladders leading up there. And on the other side of this wooden wall, you can hear shouting, screaming, and general unrest. You really have no clue what's happening on the other side. Now you've come from there, and you know very well what's happening. So you can either ask him, or I can role play it if you want, because you don't know what's happening. Ryan doesn't know what's happening on the other wall. So Dr. Borisovich tells you that on the other, that the city is pretty much in chaos. And because no one really knows what's happening. Everyone's been waiting for this boat to arrive so that they could trade with this. So this is a boat called the World Cutter. That there used to be 4 of them, and they are gigantic, tens of kilometers long, huge boats that back in the day, before the cataclysm happened, before the evil was unleashed on the world, these gigantic boats would travel all across the world, and they would be away from port for 3 or 4 years at a time, and they would go to really exotic parts of the world that weren't normally visited, and exotic materials would be mined, and crazy different people would come on board, and they were just like these sort of like these meccas, these traveling roving meccas that increase scientific discovery and research and things like that.
Cool.
Since the cataclysm, none of them have been seen for about, I think the cataclysm happened in this game about 25 years ago, 25 years ago. So for the most part, most people haven't lived very much time before the cataclysm happened, or well, some of you have, but this ship has sort of randomly, there was a sighting of the ship by one of the most northern posts weeks ago, and so everyone's been clamoring to go to this. This was a specially built bridge that goes over like a port bridge, and the boats would normally come underneath it, and trading would happen. So people from all over the country have all come to this bridge hoping to see this ship, because it hasn't shown up. And then when it arrived, it seemed to be unmanned or unpiloted, and that's when it crashed into the ship. So so this is a city that's basically just on a bridge, and normally this city would hold maybe 2,500 people, 3,500 people at most, and before the ship hit, it had 20,000 people.
Right.
So it was just crammed with people that wanted to come and trade and people that wanted to see. Like this is like the equivalent to a lot of these people. This is the equivalent of like a UFO landing.
Right.
Like it's just, if you can get there and you heard about it, you would make your damn sure that you would get there because it was a once in a lifetime event.
Right.
So anyway, so this boat's crashed into here, and when you got here, you basically had to fight your way through throngs of people that are dealing with. There's thousands of people that were, or at least hundreds that were killed, thousands of people that were injured when the boat hit. There's people that are unaccounted for. There's people that are trapped in various places inside the bridge that can't get out. Supplies are damaged. It seems like, from what you understand, that both ends of the bridge were closed to not let anyone in or out of the city because they were unsure as to what sort of supernatural evil might have been on the boat, because no one understands this stuff. That's what the Sabbatarians are for. So the whole town is basically under quarantine, and so there's nothing to eat. There's no one who knows what's going on. They're sort of operating in panic mode. So you managed to get in by hiding yourself in like the back of a merchant's caravan cabin, and hiding in amongst like a big load of sausages that was bought in from one of the other major cities. So there are supplies that are slowly coming in, that are like official supplies coming in as like food aid from other cities, but for the most part, in terms of random merchants are not allowed in, and that's how you manage to sneak in.
Yeah.
So you know the situation a little bit, but in terms of being comfortable or you're way more interested in the supernatural part of things than you are the rest, even though you understand all that other stuff. Right. For the most part,
Can I, if we're exiting the world cutter, can I roll for the deck of the world cutter? Can I roll observation again to see if I can figure out what happened or what's going on?
Yeah, it wouldn't be so much the kind of roll that you would do if you're looking for something specific. If you were like saying like,
I'm just trying to get this guy's observation. Like, I'm trying to understand how observation really works. I think.
Well, yeah. Again, observation. So observation would be like it's usually like if I was to say to you, like if you were walking through a forest, I might say to you, roll observation, and then say, oh, you managed to spot a ruin.
Okay.
That's like peeking out of underneath, like a bunch of moss, or you could say like I'm standing on the wall of a citadel and I'm looking for enemies. I want to roll observation to see can I see any detail. But you could roll observation and I can tell you if you saw anything unique or special.
Well, sure. I'm just trying to figure out why this thing, just like everybody else, trying to figure out why this boat came careening into.
Right. Yeah.
I got it that time.
Okay. So one thing you do notice when you look at where the boat has hit the sides of the walls of the bridge. Thank you. You do notice that it seems like some of the stones look like they've actually dug into the really hard, thick sides of the boat. Even though the boat is made out of like thick iron. There are certain stones, like inside, because it's broken through the bridge, right? So the cross section, in that deep cross section of the bridge, some of which is very old, there are rocks that have actually, you can see rocks have dug themselves, like they haven't been touched. Yeah. Like where you basically think like if the bridge was, you cannot make an observation or make a conclusion that if the entire bridge was made out of those rocks, the boat would have just bounced off. Right. But for some reason, you notice that. And you can also, can I see your sheet for a second?
Yeah. Rune read.
Yeah. You can also roll on your, where is it? Roll on, I don't want to say it because I want to keep it secret for you for a while, but can you roll on that for me?
Sure. What is it, 9 or less?
Yeah, 9 or less. I'll give you +1 because you passed your observation.
9 or less.
Hey. Okay, so you you feel like a vibration coming from those stones. There's like an attraction coming from those stones. Like they resonate with you in that way.
Okay.
which is not something that you're particularly used to. You've felt this sort of connection before.
Sure, but I noticed.
But this is something that you notice coming. These particular you put two and two together and feel that like the rocks that have dug into the boat are these same rocks that are sort of giving you that level of vibration.
All right, cool, interesting.
So if you even wanted to, you could potentially go over to the side of the boat and like use a little hammer and like try to hammer out one of those little rocks and take it with you if you wanted.
Yeah,
to.
well, since I don't really understand the world.
And this is what I want. Like I want you, like you can always question the game as well, because I think that having someone that is new to the system and new to role playing, you'll actually ask questions and do things that other people wouldn't necessarily think of.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
so you have a little toolkit, so you can just go out there and like.
Yeah, I think I will take a sample of the rock that I'm sewing.
This guy's kind of weird.
I do feel all kind of weird.
Yeah, so he just like stumbles over and he's like talking to himself in like some weird language. It's not German, it's not Russian, you have no clue, you've never heard it before, and he's like muttering in a couple different languages.
Is it Portuguese?
No, he doesn't speak Portuguese. He speaks a lot of other languages though. So yeah, you go over and you see him like sort of like swearing and like muttering away, and like you chip this tiny little rock out and you sort of manage to like take like, it's a little piece, it's like about that big, it's like a pebble. But it's the one that you are easiest able to remove from the one of the lower levels, one of the original levels, I guess, of the bridge, and it's quite smooth and it's quite small, but it's also it almost feels like obsidian. You know obsidian? You ever felt it's like glass?
Yeah.
It's like black glass, but it's
Right,
smooth and very old. But anyway, and it's one of the ones that has the biggest and best resonance to you in that way.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay. Cool.
Does that?
Yeah. I
Okay,
get all.
cool. Okay. All right. So you guys head back off the boat and you head along that little walkway back into the castle. And when you get there, there is there's a man who introduces himself as Vizier.
The royal vizier?
The royal vizier.
Does he have a long mustache?
No. Why? Okay, so he introduces himself as Vizier Duchamp. And he says, and he sort of brings you into the chambers below the royal throne room where you were before, where you met Ezra. What's your name? Erzbet. When you last met Erzbet, when you first met Erzbet by that fire, back into those chambers, and so yeah, he introduces himself to you and sort of gives you a little bit of the information, and he basically lets you know that that since the king has obviously been compromised, he has been appointed, so to speak, loosely by the royal council to lead the kingdom until they can figure out who the next heir is set to lead. And now that Amelia has returned, as long as she is able to get better, she will be able to take the throne, her rightful place on the throne.
Yay!
And sitting in the by the fire with his legs askew, smoking a pipe, is Montgomery Ward.
Yeah, my boy Monty.
So Montgomery Ward is a fairly short man, about 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", dressed in leathers. He has 2 rapiers on his back, and he has 2 more rapiers at his side down below, and he's got a bow, and he's got all kinds of. Since you've last seen him, he has a quiver with different lengths of arrows in it, of different sizes, and he jumps up and he warmly pumps your hands in greeting, and and is ecstatic to see you all again, and then he's going down the line, and then he stops and he just like looks. He's like, who are these people?
We've lost a few and gained a few along the way.
Oh, that's stinky. This is starting to be crazy. Oh. It's bad. Anyway.
Yeah, John's blaming on the dog.
Yeah, it is. It's doggy. Trust me. I know what like dogs' farts smell like. I get all up in there sometimes.
Well, this is the Tinkerer, Montgomery.
The Tinkerer?
Yes.
My name is Odan Mezadosh.
I like kind of leave it Montgomery.
Oh, Mezarosh. That is a very interesting name. Where do you come from? Your accent is very original. Where did you meet him? This is very
in the past.
Yeah, no, I kind of.
Oh, one of those again. I tell you.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the past in a long time. It was almost another lifetime ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. Who is this? Who is this?
Not sure.
I'm Dr. Boris.
Dr. Boris.
I'm a linguist from up north.
Are you cunning in your linguism? I am your cunning linguist. That's very good. Very good. Well, I can he like spies some of the papers sticking out of your bag, and he's just like, that is some very advanced things that you are studying and reading. Are you well versed in this, or just a hobby? What is your...
And I throw cosmology, numerology, symbolism, runology.
Runology? This is good.
This is studies from all over the world.
What day were you born, sir?
That's it, you might speak. Saturday.
You're Sabbatarian too, I think. Yes. I think you would be excellent. I think you should join us and come back to the caravan with us.
Do you speak for all these men?
I am their supervisor, so to speak, so I do not have to speak for these men. I speak for myself.
What I needed to hear today.
This is good.
I just save Sifo. They don't need us.
No, Herr Doctor, there's no need for quips. You have proven yourself again and again. You do not need to do such.
Hey, M-Dubs. You, step off the side.
And Montgomery's just also, he's not even remotely surprised that I have a completely different eye and look like a walking corpse essentially at this point. He's just kind of shrugging that one off.
Well, he looks a little different too. He looks actually about 3 inches shorter than he last was. So
yeah,
you don't really understand what's...
Okay. Oh, he's not wearing his heels this time?
We need to get back to the caravan as soon as possible. I have a fetus.
I left one the other town inside a woman's belly. Oh, you mean one of those?
Yeah,
one of the enchanted fetuses.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to carry that? I can carry it for you.
No, I'll hold on to it.
Okay.
I'm okay, guys.
So the vizier thanks you, and the vizier also gives you Eddie gives you a set of very, very lightweight gauntlets, weighted gauntlets.
Okay.
They're brass maybe.
Okay.
But they're very slightly rose tinted.
Yeah, they are.
They weigh next to nothing. And he also gives you a large pauldron that goes like on your like a shoulder. It's not a pauldron. It's like a large shoulder like armor's pauldron. Yeah. It's a single pauldron. And it's a set. I'm not gonna give you a single pauldron. It's stupid. It's a set. One of them, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, that arm is larger.
Okay.
And there's a beautifully etched rose on it, and then a chain and a much nicer rose cloak to replace your old one. And he basically tells you that now, since Delilian is gone, that you are the first knight of the rose, and first knight of the dusty rose. So it falls upon you to recruit new potential knights into the cause.
So I need to find some guys and then turn them, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean they don't have to be bad. You just have to see goodness in someone or some like type of heroism, and then you are now. You know, he gives you a scroll that sort of like decrees your official title. You're actually also given some lands in a place that you have no clue where it is. You know, north of here, probably somewhere cold. But you do have some lands that are given to you as part of that. You're now like you're a Sir. You're like a Sir Sir Suarez.
Do you know how the Dusty Rose was founded?
Delilian.
Did it start?
No,
Did it start in a pub?
No. The order of the rose of the Dusty Rose is a long and it's a very long and colorful history within the royal family. I'll admit that it's definitely more of a shadow of its former self. It's much more of a lip service than it used to be, especially since Delilian took over some 10 years ago or so. It's become a lot more of a pomp and circumstance. Let's sit around and have a drink and pretend that we're extra special, so to speak.
So it wasn't based on the name of the pub.
No.
We didn't time paradox it.
But because you are sort of seemingly more just or more maybe more apt to carry the true morals and upkeep of the Knights of the Dusty Rose, the Vizier hopes that you will usher in a new golden era for the Knights.
Can you get a rose gold era?
A rose gold era, exactly.
I will do my best.
I'll see myself.
So part of the gifts that you've been bestowed upon you, well, you've all been bestowed upon with some gifts. You are given a small, not a chariot, but kind of like a mixture between a chariot and a caravan. Like it's a sort of, it would go nicely with the other caravan back at the Sabbatarian camp. It's a caravan that has enough space for 6 people to sleep. And it's got a little kitchen, and it's like a little traveling RV, so to speak. It is, and there are 3 horses that pull it. And the other thing you can write down as well is you're also given a crate, a box, a chest, and inside that chest are 5 boxes, and each box is identical, and each box contains a jeweled rapier and a cloak. So that you can give and a lighter, so that you can give those out to each of the new potential recruits if you wish.
Hey Josh.
No. I still want to turn this
So he asks. I mean, he asks obviously if you're willing to take on this responsibility. It's quite a hefty.
I'd be honored.
He said, so he knights you properly with the king's old sword, and sort of Montgomery Ward kind of sits back and kind of like rolls his eyes and like waits for this to finish.
I'm the knight.
So the party is also given a small chest with 2,500 gold pieces in it for their services to the 2,500.
Oh, that's a lot because you were saying 3 and 4 before.
Oh, it's a massive amount of gold.
Yeah.
Because before this, they like the highest currency these guys are dealing with is silver.
We had 15 gold.
Yeah, from that other
from the
chest.
snake box.
Plus, I have that whatever I looted off of the Lilian.
Yes. But Montgomery, let's head out. Do you guys want to do anything else in town?
I want to get new clothes first.
I don't know if we have time.
I will just go buy new clothes.
No, they can give you clothes in the.
Okay.
So you're given a set of floofy silks They're kind of a little oversized.
Yeah, no.
We match.
What? That's
I will
what's
stay
available.
I will stay with my Rex.
That's what's available in the.
So what if I chime up and I say, we are going to be fighting, I will need something as well.
Yes?
Yes, I have my suit I came from home with in the briefcase.
Well, what do you need? What do you wish?
I'll take one of those, I'll take one of the boxes with the lighter and the...
Oh, you've got a recruit already. Are you going to give him one?
me.
Would you like to be my squire?
Is that where I gotta start?
Yeah, you got. If you do it, you're sort of committing. You're gonna get a code of honor, and for certain morals to uphold. It's like it's an actual position.
We are just, but we're also a little bit selfish.
Okay.
Wow, that's one of these family coat of arms, isn't it?
Excellent. Thank you.
There you go. So now you're a squire. You can write down that you have a rapier,
A dusty rose.
rose rapier. I don't think you know how to use it, but you have it, which is good. What skill do you have? What kind of combat skills do you have?
I'm in where I did my learning. I did boxing, so I'm familiar with boxing.
Wow, you're gonna be best friends then.
Yeah,
he's a boxer. Yeah.
I'm pugilist.
Yes. Let's go pugilize. And so the dusty rose lighter that comes with it smells of, what was it? Lilacs.
Yeah.
And when you light the flame, it's pink as opposed to red. Yeah. And it's actually saved us a few times having one of these lighters.
So you're gonna wear that over your cloak, over your suit.
No, I think what I'll do is I'll lose. Let me just lose this jacket and dress the pot. And
You might want to keep the jacket. It's cold as balls.
It's like -20 out.
Okay.
But your caravan does have a small,
hanging
hob?
against the caravan.
yeah, it's got a little wood burning stove in there. You know.
Well, I'll hang it on some of the moving parts.
It's actually made to fit 4, so the fact that there's like 5 of you means that it's a little on the cramped side, but it's still quite warm. So so the king, not the king, sorry, the vizier sort of shows you, bids you adieu, and lets you go out. So remember, I don't know if you remember this.
I want to find to see if my horse is in the stable.
Yeah.
I've had that. My character's had that horse since he was a kid.
I ate my last horse.
I'm hoping no one ate mine.
Well, if you want to go and try and see if you can get there, it might take you some time, but
I mean, it would be something that would be important to my character.
okay.
It's something that he's like. It's the one thing he left home with.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
You get back to the stable, and there is a dead horse. No, I'm kidding. The horse is there.
Cool. Nobody noticed.
There is a outstanding bill of 3 copper pieces.
Okay. Oh, jeez. I give the stable master a gold piece and tell him to have a nice day.
Yeah, he actually throws it away and says, "Don't give me fake fucking money. Give me copper. You crazy man? What the fuck is this? Fake gold?
This is gold, sir.
I don't believe you. Why would you give me fucking gold?
Look at what I'm wearing. We have money.
Did you all go?
I guess so.
Your caravan would not fit. It's huge.
Yeah, we don't need to take the caravan there.
Okay, are you all going then?
I guess so.
We don't split the party. We do not split the party.
I'm just eager to follow.
Okay, Ruben, can you make a observation check, please? -3.
Ruben got robbed a few times.
No.
Okay. Can I have your character sheet for a second, please?
Oh no.
Sorry, dude! I randomly rolled. It's not like I single you out in any way.
Of course you didn't.
Why would I do no? I rolled for everybody.
I'm sure you did.
I don't think they have anything that they could pickpocket off of him. nothing that's small enough for them to
His
take.
rifle
them.
was broken. He had a huge ass broadsword.
Yeah. Someone takes a little baggie or like your wallet, but your wallet's empty, so it doesn't really matter. Your wallet goes missing, or when you get there, it's like you had a leather pouch where you had money, where you would normally keep money, but it was empty, and someone cut the bottom of it, but there was nothing in there, so you haven't lost anything.
Okay.
You're okay.
So I take my horse.
Okay. So yeah, so by the time you manage to move your horse out and all meet up on the other side of the bridge, because you have to go you go out this side and they go out this side, and you meet up past the thing. As you're riding away in your caravan, there's tons of people like grabbing onto the caravan, trying to get onto the caravan, and you're sort of trying your best to gently pry them off. But it's difficult because there's people, injured people trying to get in. Remember before when you got there, those huge lineups. The lineup is you ride up the other side. You ride for at fairly decent speed. And it takes.
Caravan's so cramped, I'll ride alongside. Because we went to get my horse specifically, so yeah. I'll actually ride alongside the caravan. Okay,
make a health check, please.
Okay.
Okay, so it's fine anyway. I'm just doing it but I mean, so you're any normal man would be frozen into a lump, but you're remarkably unfazed by the cold.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
he's fine. He's good.
Yeah.
Right.
So you managed to stoke the fire inside the caravan and warm it up a little bit. You guys managed to start heading back. It's about a 4-day journey back to the caravan, back to your original base.
Okay, so maybe on this time I would explain that I'm in search of magic. I understand that magic is in this world and as decimates the population, and I think I can help you come to the bottom of some of these.
Do you want to see something really cool?
Yes.
I activate the power of friendship!
Oh, no. Okay.
I thought you were going to pull out the fetus.
No, I have a little charm that glows, and it will glow on Josh too.
Yeah.
Alright.
We are linked.
Alright, cool.
So you can roll on that ability, on that one that I marked again. I mean, I can talk about if you're okay with me talking about it in front of them, I will.
Yeah, I've kind of led on to the. I mean, just now.
Okay, yeah. So his character.
4.
Crit.
Yeah, it's a critical success.
Yeah. So his character is able to sense and potentially eventually shape and master and use magic. There's not a lot of it in this world, as you know, true magic, and he has a bit of a gift in order to be able to understand it and use it. And right now, his character is very basic. He doesn't really he naturally is able to sense it, but in terms of shaping and using it, he can't really do that yet. But
you're a wizard, Boris.
That's it. Okay. So you manage to that these guys, this charm that they have, it actually doesn't glow on Josh anymore. No.
So I guess it doesn't work for me.
No.
I just yell, I activate the power of friendship.
No, yours glows, but no, his doesn't.
Huh. Have you ever been to North America?
This is a place I have never traveled.
Well, I'll regale him with some of my stories.
Are you going to regale us all, or are we just getting you in a roll? No, I'm just kidding. Let's go. 3 days! You tell us stories of North America!
Well, if there's 3 days, my guy, I will open up to you in this journey more.
Like open up what? Your legs?
Well, you
I
must
start opening
It's revenge thing.
Yeah, right.
Don't want to take revenge thing. Revenge is like
you have
everyone.
3 days. I'm going to teach him a few rapier basics.
Okay.
Right.
So now you have what's your dex? 10, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're right here.
Dex -1.
Okay, so you've got deck. You can write under skills.
Yeah.
No. See, so this is your skill list.
Mm-hmm.
So go to here, and you can. Well, yeah, write it. Oh yeah, skills continued. So put it under here. Put in rapier, and then put level 9. Yeah, and then put dex -1, like that. Dx -1. There you go.
Okay.
So now you have the skill of using rapier. Now, does anyone else want to teach anyone else anything else while we're here?
Well, they keep asking me about the papers that are floating everywhere, and I finally pull them into some.
Clean up your shit, bro.
Pull them into some organization.
Should poop into a group lab.
And I say,
were there not papers that were on the table?
Which papers?
Like just this pile of papers.
you moved some earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've just got my
Okay,
papers.
no, that's fine. Keep talking.
And he's just trying. No, I said to you, I've seen symbols from all over the world. I am an expert in symbolism, the occult, and namiology.
Sorry, namiology?
Namiology.
Namiology.
Memeology? Is that like the memes?
Namiology.
And what exactly is namiology?
I can tell what a person's country of origin was, generally.
Oh, that's
what their
cool.
religion
I thought it was
perhaps was.
I can when someone tells me their name, I then know their name. This is what it is.
It's a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift.
I'll tell you about our travel back in time.
Okay.
We
I just found Tom Blues.
Oh,
Fuck.
best character.
Sorry.
we were deep within the ship and went down a tunnel
Why
and
is he not putting NPC?
found ourselves a couple hundred years ago where we met this Jamoke.
Okay.
Yes, he was living with his uncle, who it turns out was Lord Montavon, who was an elder vampire. We didn't realize it right at the time, otherwise we would have tried to kill him. But instead, he turned evil. So
Okay.
there's that whole thing. Yeah.
Is that
I bought a pub back then, 200 years ago, named it the Dusty Rose. We're trying to spread the name kind of Doctor Who Bad Wolf style, I guess.
Alright.
Yeah. That was pretty much our adventure back in time.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically brought you to Russia in your search for magic?
This is where, believe it or not, I was originally born.
Oh,
I have spent many years abroad.
you have quite a thick accent.
I spent most of my years in Germany and the surrounding areas, Prague, Czech Republic. I'm time traveling too, apparently.
The
Yeah,
USSR.
my guy's got a thick accent. And I'm gifted with many languages.
But you don't speak Portuguese.
No. Since I do not speak, I could probably get by with some of the smattering of my other languages.
Do you speak English?
I do
I
speak
actually
English.
have.
I'll chat with you in English for a while.
have
By the
this-
way, we're speaking in Russian right now.
Right, yeah, I got it.
So,
So-
you have first aid already?
Yeah,
I think I have some.
he does
Okay.
have first aid.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, can I teach these two basic first aid skills while we're on the road? Like,
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. You can
Yeah.
both have first aid at the whatever the
So
thing
you're
is.
teaching me first aid right now?
Yeah, you already have it.
yeah.
You have
Do
first
I
aid
up
already.
it?
Yeah, you have it. It's under F. I gave it to you.
Yeah, there it is. Do I up it then?
Nope.
Oh.
No, you can't up it without spending points on it, which you
Oh,
have
I
no
see.
points to spend. You can basically, if you want to learn skills from each other that are fairly easily, like I'll sort of let you know what's teachable and what's not, you know.
While we're on the road, I'm gonna fix the leg attachments for my armor and
Okay.
fill my tank up with steam.
Okay. Cool.
Is there anything that I can attach to
What
my
is it?
armor yet, or is it?
Not you won't be able to do that in the caravan. The one thing I will let you do though is I will let you make a second steam
Let's talk
tank.
about his IQ easy, so
That
I'm assuming
will
it's
also
just
give you another
value
15
based
seconds.
Okay.
But you do have to physically remove one
Yeah.
and then remove this. So removing the thing, the first one is easy. You basically like activate like a switch inside the armor and it just drops out. If you, I mean, you obviously have to remember to pick it up later, but it's like a one, it's a one action. Dropping it is free. It's free to drop it, but then to put the new one in, you have to take the new one out. You have to plug it. So taking it out is one action. Plugging it in is a second action, and then screwing it in is 2 more actions. So it's 4 actions to 4 seconds essentially to put it back in again, at least for now. But it does mean obviously you don't have to worry about trying to, you know, cook another canister while you're waiting. So.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool. Yeah.
Josh, do you speak English?
No, I'd speak Russian and German.
Oh. Get to bond with my new squire.
Mm-hmm.
So to give a bit of backstory on the North America thing, I was originally from Brazil, but after my master who raised me died, I rode a horse all the way up to Canada. And I then ate the horse and took it right east.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't talk about eating the horse.
Right.
I would heavily allude to it.
Okay. So yeah. So on your 3rd day, when you're starting to get fairly close to the caravan, it's getting late, and you guys will have to break for camp. And of course, you sleep in the caravan. It's not like you have to make camp anywhere. But who is taking the shifts for?
I'll take watch.
You can just watch the whole night.
Yep.
Okay. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, you can roll on your observation.
Also, for reference, when I'm taking watch, I'm just sort of sitting on top of the caravan.
Yeah.
Just like sitting on the roof a bit with my crossbow.
Okay.
Oh, we should set on a lazy Susan and rotate.
Am I rolling in any noises?
Well, it's dark.
Okay.
So, depending on how far... Right now, you're
Night vision?
rolling anyway. So do you have what?
He has night vision?
No. Well,
No.
So
Do you have to activate it?
I have to activate it.
Oh,
Well, you have it activated since it's dark?
I mean, if it
It'll
wouldn't
give
put
you a
any-
bonus.
If it wouldn't put any strain on me constantly, then yeah,
No.
I'd be using
It'll
it.
give you a bonus.
Okay.
You would use up fatigue points using it when you are in combat or
Yeah.
when you're in a situation of stress, but to keep it like low level active doesn't
Yeah.
cost. So it gives you a bonus of +2
Let's do it.
to your observation.
That's a pass.
Yeah, it's pass. I'm good. We pass.
Okay, so you immediately notice far out on the edges of like sort of like a meadow,
Yeah.
I guess, where you guys are camped, but of course it's
Snowy,
laden with
yeah.
snow. You see, as you've been watching, see this little. It's strange because
Yeah.
you didn't sort of connect it together at first because it was so innocent that it didn't really register with you. But you were seeing fireflies, just
Okay.
kind of like
Okay.
slowly flying around, and you didn't really notice. You didn't really
I didn't
register
put
that
two and
it's
two together
cold
that
and they
it-
shouldn't
that
be
should-
fireflies. But because you're just used to seeing fireflies when you're keeping watch, not
Okay,
it's in the other world, you know. And because of the way that it's dark, you sort of forgot that it was snowy. You can't really see the snow; it's just dark. You can't. But anyway, so you sort of see fireflies flying around, and the reason why it sort of resonated with you is because it seems like a lot of the fireflies are slowly coming together
Well,
into like an area.
Going to look through the scope I have on my crossbow towards the general area that I think I see them congregating.
Okay. You can't see anything special. It just looks like there's just all these slowly motes of lights, and you see what you thought were fireflies are actually just motes, like little nodules of light slowly forming together, slowly moving together,
Wait for my
lazily
baby.
coming together.
Okay, well I'm going to continue watching it.
Okay.
Okay.
And they slowly come together, and they sort of make what looks like to be the outline of a person, they make like a light person.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that the person is sort of fairly formed, the light just goes out.
Okay.
and there's just complete
It's dark
silence.
again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep that one in my front pocket for
Okay. Jim, can you roll on your? Do you have like you're not a deep sleeper or anything
Yes.
like that?
No,
He is dreaming.
but I failed that roll. I rolled a 12.
Okay. You don't wake up. Can you roll? You guys can both roll on your. Just roll three dice actually, unless you have anything special. If you have any if you have any
Insomnia?
if you have any things that are like insomnia, light sleeping, if you have what is it called? Some people have like enhanced hearing.
Acute hearing.
Acute, thank you. Acute hearing. It would be under advantages.
I have
acute vision.
I have acute vision.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't help when you're sleeping.
I can see the
So roll
approaching
three
through my
dice,
eyelids.
then.
Ooh, that's
10.
I have acute mana sense.
That might help in a second. But what did you roll, Ruben?
10.
Okay, so you wake up and you feel like you can. You look to your you're all fairly sardini sleeping on this thing, right?
Yeah.
You see a ghostly hand come through the floor of the caravan, like as if the caravan's floor is made out. It looks like it's vibrating very quickly, like the floor is sort of
Like a flash.
it's blurry, and then you see like this hand slowly coming up through the floor, and it seems to be moving towards Jim's character as he's asleep.
I'm gonna wake him up.
How?
Gonna shake him.
slap that bitch. Just get up.
What the fuck do you want?
Okay, hang on. Okay, as you go to grab Jim, the hand comes up and tries to grab. As it comes up, it grabs you for a second, and the hand turns solid for a second, but it doesn't really hold you, and it's sort of you break away very quickly. Can you roll on your willpower, and you can add any levels of fearlessness to that if you have them.
Yep.
Nice.
9 on 16.
Okay, so you're definitely not scared at all. You manage to sort of wake up Jim, or at least you shake Jim anyway.
What?
There's a magical hand that tried to grab me and it's going for you.
Okay.
Having a nightmare.
Okay, I'm assuming I'm hearing them yelling from up top.
Roll on your perception.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any acute hearing?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did you actually say? Because the first time you whispered and then the second time you yelled. What did you actually
Yeah,
do?
well, I'd whisper and then yell when he's
Okay.
shaking me.
Okay. So yeah, you give a +1 to your perception. Perception is 12.
Oh, right. I'm really
It's all right. It's okay. It's all good.
13.
13, yeah.
Okay. So you get a +1, so you manage to you sort of hear a shout inside the caravan, and you can roll again 3 dice, please, and tell me what you get.
That guy's gonna be passed out. Oh no.
No, you also wake up.
Okay.
Okay.
You wake up to the sound.
Well, I'm gonna hop down off the roof and try and see what's going on in the shagging wagon.
Okay. As you hop down off the roof, you just go straight. You think you're gonna hit the ground, and you just go straight into the ground.
Okay.
You go straight into the ground, and the ground is it looks like it's blurry, and you just go you just sink straight into the ground, past your head, not
falling or
slow, but
Okay.
it's like jumping into the water. It's not
Okay.
it's not fast, but it's definitely doesn't really slow you down that much, right?
Okay.
But instead of normally when you jump into the water and you kind of are buoyant, you just kind of sink straight into the ground,
Okay.
and you're it's past your head. You're and it's pitch black. You can't see fucking shit.
Okay.
Let's say So Jim, you woke up first. What are you gonna do?
I look around.
Okay.
Do I see anything?
No.
Okay. Dude, you were dreaming.
No, I saw it. It grabbed me.
Yeah, that's just tactile sensory. From my knowledge of dreaming.
Can you roll on your dreaming skill, please?
It's a fail.
Yeah, so you can make it up. You can BS it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I do.
Yeah, okay. He doesn't sound very convincing.
And I would step in and I'd say, I believe in all things we cannot explain. So I want to try and get some light. So I either have a lighter.
Yeah, you do. You have a lighter. You have the lighter.
So I
That's a real lighter.
try and light up some of my papers.
Oh, that smells good.
Less valued papers. Or
Okay, so you're gonna put them into the stove?
right, because we're in the caravan.
You're in a caravan. Probably not a good idea too.
And open the stove door.
Just to let you know, I've given him a skill called common sense.
Okay.
So like for the first little while, I can step. I've already told him I'll sort of step in and like remind him of things. It's just I do that, and I do that for everyone who's new, just so that. Yeah. So anyway, you light the papers.
I somehow.
So when you light the lighter, you're sort of surprised at how much light that you get from the lighter, and you're surprised that how much light comes out of the lighter as well, because it's way more than you're used to when you light your lighter. So you light the lighter, and it just sort of like it blossoms.
Well, then I drop the papers because I value my papers, and I just hold the lighter in the room.
So the whole inside of the caravan is lit up with this like pink light, and you could, when you look down at the ground between where the beds are, there's a spot where you can. It looks like stars. It looks like the night sky, but it's like clearly like a hole in the bottom of the caravan. But you don't know. It's not like a hole that is jagged edged. It's sort of blurry on the edges, as if it's almost like stars were painted onto the bottom of the caravan.
Can I roll dreaming again to see if I think I'm dreaming?
You
realize I'm awake.
You roll on IQ and you get +1 for your dreaming.
That is a. Oh no. That's
yeah, you don't really know. You don't really know.
Guys, now I'm dreaming. Bizarre.
Can they see me through the hole?
Not yet. We'll get to you in 1 second. So Ruben, what do you want to do?
I'm going to grab like a pot or something and like drop it into like a little patch of like stuff.
Okay.
What the hell?
Okay, it just
pot.
It just disappears. You see a pot. Just like you're like standing there like what's going, and you don't know if you're stopped, like if you're still falling, because there's nothing to like gauge falling with, right? So you're sort of like in this like suspended state of animation, and then you slowly see a black kitchen pot float by, and you recognize it. It's a pot from the caravan.
Okay. Can I I'm gonna attempt to kind of paddle through the air to move towards where the pot came.
Yeah, well the pot's very close to you. You can actually sort of grab it if you wanted to.
Okay. Can I if I try to move upward, is there am I not doing it? If I kind of just dog paddle up?
You don't really know. You're sort of moving towards the pot, and the pot is sort of below you, and you're sort of above the pot, but you can't really see. You don't even know which way's up. Okay. There's no yes, the pot is moving in a certain direction, and you're going the opposite direction of the pot.
Yes.
Okay. So you're slowly moving in that direction. Okay. What do you want to do, Ryan? Is there anything that you want to do?
I have my character.
You can roll on magic again if you'd like.
And not tying abilities.
Okay.
So I mean,
you want to use a
presumably
rope?
I have a lasso.
Nope.
Oh, I am not tying abilities and no rope. Okay.
We have rope.
Do you need rope?
There's rope.
There is rope. Okay. I look at the hole in the ground. I can tell there is a disturbance with the solidity, and I tie a rope to a bed frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all I come up with.
Are you tying the other end of the rope to something else?
No,
You're tying it to yourself and diving in there?
I offer to these guys that I said there's
roll on not tying, please.
I'll roll on not tying, and then I just kind of throw the rope like it's someone else's job now. I got the thing. So that's 11.
Did you pass it?
What's your knot tying?
Just a moment. Not with a K. 10.
And you rolled?
11.
So you think you tied it well.
Ruben and I test it.
It comes undone.
Okay. So I attempt it again. But
okay, you can roll again.
In this game, if the kind of pit boss goes, yeah, that didn't work. Can you really go at it again, or
Ruben, yes. Ruben and I know to test all of our
because we've like fucked up.
They've almost died a couple times because they thought like, oh, because when you roll and you fail, unless you critically fail, it works. It looks like it's tight, but it won't hold any weight.
Right. Okay.
So they know now to test it. So they tested it.
They said that right away. So again.
So you fuck up again.
So I can't tie it. So I think you can all see what needs to be done here. we need to tie this rope so that we can try and reach into the hole.
We can't tie.
Can't tie.
I was the one that tied all the knots.
Okay, I can hold on to the rope.
Can you roll observation, please?
Another fail.
Okay. You can both roll observation as well.
I'm rolling very poorly today.
So you're rolling on your observation, and you're using this time. You can add the bonus.
Oh, I got 12, so I get observation. I got 11.
Plus you get +1 because it's actually a vision related observation this time.
Acute vision.
Yep. So that gives you +1. So instead of rolling 12, you'd be rolling 13. Do you know how that works?
Yeah, but I rolled 11.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you're rolling 11 on 13.
Yeah,
no, because you get acute vision +1. Is it +2?
+1.
Right. So that would give you instead of roll. So your normal observation is 12.
Yeah.
Because it's a vision-based observation, you're rolling under a 13 instead.
Yeah.
So there's two ways you can apply the bonus. You know what? Just apply the bonus that way. I'm not going to make it confusing for you.
Okay.
Just add one that way.
Okay.
You notice that Eddie's pack, like his bag, is slowly sinking into the floor on the other side of the bed.
Is there another hole?
You surmise that there is.
You can't notice. Okay. So I have.
You can probably say something.
Yeah.
Would probably be the best.
I have. Well, I don't think it matters, but I actually have the debating or whatever.
Yeah, I don't need it. Debating would be used for like non-player characters. So whenever you're talking amongst the characters, you role play it because you don't have to like.
So I don't have to speak for why this is a good idea. I just have to get everybody to hold part of the rope.
You just need to tell us that my bag is sinking into the floor.
Right. Okay. We see that other things are falling into the floor. Everyone grabs something solid. This rope.
What's falling into the floor?
This bag in the corner.
Jesus Christ! I jump at it. Can I reach it from my bed?
Yeah, you can reach it from your bed.
I snatch it.
Okay, you grab it and it gets pulled into the hole. Okay. Are you going to follow it into the hole?
I'm not letting go.
Okay, or are you going to try and... So you can try and grab him and stop him. You could also potentially be holding onto one end of the rope because you were talking about holding onto the rope. So I would retcon you holding onto the rope.
Okay, yeah, I'd be holding on.
Okay, so you're holding onto the rope with one end.
I would basically dive after the bag.
Right, with the bag holding onto the other end. So...
Are we all holding the rope? Because I did ask us all.
No one was holding... All what was happening was you were trying to tie a rope.
Yeah.
Which wasn't working, and at one point he said, I can hold the rope, and he grabbed the end from you. So he was the only one holding on the rope. So the moment you grab after the bag, you're holding on the bag gets pulled into the hole. The moment your skin, or your glove, or your gauntlet, whatever you're wearing, touches where the hole is, your entire body just gets like sucked into the hole. So you just see Eddie for a split second kind of like grab a hold of a bag, and all of a sudden his body sort of accelerates incredibly quickly, like this, and now there's just a rope slowly like spiraling into the hole. Like,
I'm gonna grab the rope.
Right.
Who's gonna grab the rope?
I'm gonna grab the rope.
Okay, you grab the rope. You grab the rope. Make a strength check, please.
9.
Passed by 4.
Yeah. So you just leave you in one hand the rope. You're just like this, and it just like stops, just like this. So the moment you touch the thing, it feels like you've got no visual. It doesn't look like stars. It's just completely black. You're holding onto the bag. Josh, you see Eddie fly past you, so this is what you see. You're sort of floating. you're like trying to swim by the pot.
Yeah.
Right? You feel something behind you, almost like rushing water or something, and then as you turn, you see an arm reach up. Like just like in the distance. Like you can't like grab it because it's too far away. You see a hand reach up through and like a hand disappear, and the hand is really long. It's not attached to a body. It's just a really long arm, and it grabs hold of something, and you see Eddie's bag start to come into this realm from wherever the fuck it's coming from, and then all of a sudden it just pulls really hard, and you see Eddie fly down, holding onto the other end, but he's holding like. When you see him, he's not facing you. He's facing, like, his face is facing away from you. And he gets pulled down. And you see him just, like, vanish. And you see a rope.
Okay, is there...
And all of a sudden the rope stops. And, like, kind of, like, goes...
Okay, so, like, would I be able to gauge how far this is from me?
Yeah, roll on your IQ.
Yeah, that's my good one.
Hey.
You'll be good.
Yeah, so you're just like, you estimate that in whatever this world is, this realm is, that it's maybe 12 feet away from you, something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna try and like paddle towards the rope.
Okay. You start paddling towards the rope. What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna try to pull the rope back up.
And I'm gonna grab the end and try to tie it when as he's doing it.
Okay, roll to tie it.
You're not tying 10. Way too much. 13.
Yeah, you can't even get the ends
I'm
together.
just
You're all thumbs.
Like a tit.
You're all thumbs.
Well, you'd be excited. Like, you'd never seen anything like this
Right.
before. This is your... Like,
So
magic's happening!
You're pulling the rope up.
I'm just running around frantically. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you're like powering the rope. Whatever is pulling on the end of the rope cannot compete with you.
Well, it's his new arm. He's gonna break it in.
Jim, so Jim, you managed to get pulled back up out of the hole. Yeah, and there is a before that happens, you actually managed to get to the rope.
Okay.
Before the rope gets pulled. That's what I should have said.
Okay.
You get to the rope before Jim gets pulled out of the hole.
Okay.
So you can actually get pulled out of the hole.
Yeah, no, that's
all of a sudden, the weight gets significantly greater on the rope. Roll strength again, please.
11 on 13, passed by 2.
Yeah, so you're like, you just like put your other arm on the rope and you're just like laying up the rope and just pulling the rope. Josh, the moment you touch the edge of, it looks like water, but it looks like you're going into water. It doesn't look like you're coming out of water.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it's like doesn't feel like you're underwater looking at the sky above you. It looks like you're looking down at like an ocean sort of thing. And anyway, the moment you touch it, you all of a sudden land on Ruben. Like you just get pulled, and there's like your entire body gets like thrown into the caravan and lands on Ruben. He just sort of like shrugs you off and just like keeps pulling.
So everybody's out of the hole.
Now, then Jim gets pulled out of the hole as well. There we go. Okay.
What the fuck was that?
There's an arm that's attached to the bag, and as it like is out of the hole, it starts to like atrophy a little bit, and then it goes completely transparent again or translucent again. And the moment it goes translucent, it like firms back up into like looks like an arm again, but it loses. It stops grabbing your bag and it just like slides back into the floor, and the floor slowly solidifies again.
What the fuck?
Oh. I was underground. It was dark.
Rev up those occult rolls, everybody.
This is your bread and butter.
Yeah,
So
my guy's running around.
Oh, I super failed.
Oh, you critically failed.
I forgot.
You're getting nosebleed.
I forgot.
Even though you don't have any blood.
I forgot something about the occult.
Roll 3 dice there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm running around and I'm trying to solve it. I have an idea. 12.
And what's your occult?
Occult 12.
There you go. So you
know
Plus 1.
Oh, don't worry about the plus 1.
You know exactly what happened.
So
can you can you please roll on spirit lore?
Okay, sure.
You get plus 2 because you passed your occult roll.
fucking ghost trying to steal my money.
So you get +2 to your spirit lore roll. So look up spirit lore on your.
They were trying to
sheet.
steal
It's under,
us.
under,
Yeah, I wouldn't
under
connect
lore
that.
spirit. I think it might. It's be there. Spirit.
Dang ghost trying to steal my
Might be under hidden lore. It's under H.
Hidden lore, that is.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. So you get +2.
Yeah.
So you rolled 6,
Right.
7, 8. You already passed anyway,
Yeah.
but you get an additional +2. So you pass by like 5.
Okay.
So
So do I know what it is?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I reach, I go into our money supply, and I scatter coins all across the floor. And I say, this will prevent more holes from opening.
Okay. So the holes, the coins sort of like vibrate a little bit.
Yeah.
So you know that the
presence of something.
This thing is a type of fairy
Okay.
that is a trickster,
Okay.
and is usually under the influence of like of a greater spiritual presence.
Okay, cool.
It's sort of like used as like as a
Peon.
yeah, as a peon, and
Okay.
that money money is used as a way to confuse it, so that it doesn't know
okay.
which one to choose, because money is attractive to trinkets are attractive. It's very basic in terms of its needs. Money is a sort of something that it is interested in, but there are so many on the ground that it doesn't know where to start, so it just gets confused.
That's a better explanation.
Why were you underground?
I heard the noise in the caravan. I jumped from the roof. I was in the floor.
You hear creaking sounds outside of the caravan, and the walls of the caravan start to undulate. The wooden walls start to kind of undulate, and you see like knots get bigger and smaller, and sort of like you can. It almost looks like the wood is pulsing.
Okay, Josh, here, loop this around me.
Okay.
Loop this around you. What is it?
Rope.
The rope.
You gonna not tie it up?
I am.
Good luck.
I should have bumped that up before this session. But you guys kept distracting me. Ooh, no, that's a super fail. 14 on 10.
Okay, yeah, you
Okay,
can.
I try.
Okay, roll it up.
No one
on
can
10.
tie. We're like
11.
Okay, so guys, this is good, right?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, I do trust Josh. Alright. I open the door, put on my knuckles,
Okay.
and step outside the caravan.
You're stepping out the back door or the front door?
I'm stepping out the back.
Can I have a pen, pencil, something? So here's the caravan.
Okay, and as he's
Here are the
stepping out,
voices.
I'm gonna take out 2 of my silver knives.
Okay, so you step out the back of the caravan. This is Jim here. You're on a sort of a pathway here. You step out of the caravan, and you see that sitting on the top of the caravan at the back is Montgomery Ward, and he's like crouched, and he's got his bow out, and he's got 2 arrows knocked in it. And he's got them like over his thumb. And one of the arrows is really short and has this big bulbous head, and the other one is
Is it
really
punching bag?
long, and it's got like a triple barb on it. And you see that the bow has 2 strings on it, and he's got 2 different fingers and 2 different strings, and he's holding them like that. And you see that he's got like a weird pair of glasses on, and the glasses have green emerald crystals, not lenses, like flat lenses, but green crystals, and the green crystals are glowing slightly. And he motions like this with his finger, and he points where he's aiming the bow.
My guy's flipping through his papers while you're going.
Okay,
Going
so
to get
so
ready
you
to
step
go.
out the back.
So I'm
Montgomery
just, like,
Ward is on
going.
the top here. So what do you? Yeah, you've already stepped out. What are you going to do?
I'm going to take out my broadsword and step out with him.
You're going to step out the back as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm in there alone.
Yep.
Just flipping through papers.
No, I'm still there. I'm
Oh,
just
you're in
kind of,
there? I thought
I'm sitting by the door and I have like my knives out.
Alright.
Okay.
Probably should have had someone holding on to the rope tied around my waist.
Yeah, well...
But
Well, I think...
I didn't fall through the ground.
No, that's fine.
No, you haven't fallen through the ground when you stepped
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
You've sort of forgotten the rope is around you. So yeah, so he's sort of pointing out like somewhere over here.
Okay.
You can roll on observation, and if you have any bonuses to acute vision, you can add those. Otherwise, it's -2.
7. Yeah.
7. Nice. So you see, like, well out on the edges of the forest here, you can see what looks like to be, there is a wooden moose figure, like a man, like it looks like a druid, I guess.
Okay.
You'd say like it looks like I can't say it's a druid. It looks like a man with like a wooden flowing headdress that's made out of antlers. And the antlers are all made out of wood that have all come like this cloak or this energy that's made the wood alive and curve around his body. And he's this gigantic antlers coming out, and all around him are these little glowing creatures. You can't really see them because they're so bright, but you can see like within the glowing sphere, there is something inside it, like glowing and flickering like this. And it's just like the man, and the person is just, you've got like a staff in his hand, and he's just standing waiting, like watching you.
Looking at me? You can see?
He's looking at the caravan.
Can I try and stealth straight to the side, like take a wide berth and go towards it?
Yep. Roll stealth.
It's fail.
Okay. So how fast are you moving? I guess you're stealthing, you're just moving slowly. So the way that it works, so he's like sort of here. The caravan is about 20 feet long.
Okay.
So that's 20 feet there. So he's like what, like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 and 120 feet away, something like that. So you can go like this direction. You don't know when you fail, right? I mean, you feel like you're doing right. So you start slowly moving around the woods. So this part here, there's a fence, sort of, that goes along the edge of this road, but it's in just sections of fence. It's not. There's a lot of breaks in it. There's a couple small trees, like fruit trees, that overlap the edge of the road, and then there's sort of like farmland, I guess, of some sort. And then at the back here, there's a wall that's made out of a stone, and again, it's crumbling in those spots. And he's on the other side of it, so you're sort of like going around the edge. There's another, maybe it's a property line, but there's another row of trees over here somewhere, so you can sort of, if you wanted to, you could go all the way around.
Yeah, it'd be.
Okay, so that's where you're heading.
This guy looks kind of terrifying.
What are you going to do, Josh? Oh no, you're not standing out. Ruben, you're standing out there as well.
Yep.
Can you roll on your observation? Minus, unless you have. Do you have any levels
I have
of
acute vision.
How many?
3.
Okay, so you're plus. So roll on observation plus or perception +1.
Okay.
It's a 10 on 12.
Yep.
Okay, so you can see this guy as well.
I'm gonna just walk towards him.
Okay, you're just gonna walk straight there?
Yeah.
Okay, you start walking towards him. What are you gonna do?
So I'm shuffling through my papers. I grab 3 or 4 that, whatever, I seem to be interested in. And then I go to the front of the caravan and I release one of the horses.
Okay.
To try and create a distraction.
Okay,
Or try and help because I'm too timid to get out of the caravan.
Okay.
Okay. Stay.
So you stick your head out here, and you go to like release one of the horses, and you see that all of the horses are just like sitting,
Right.
and they're all just looking. They're all just looking in that direction, just like. And you untie the horse, but the horse doesn't even know that it's tied up. It's just like.
Okay, cool. Interesting, cool.
Josh.
Okay, well, I look over at you, and I'm like, stay here. If one of them comes in, use this. I plant one of my silver knives into like the wood of the caravan, and I hop out the back.
Okay.
I pick up his knife. Do I get to interrupt? It doesn't have to flow.
It doesn't have to flow unless it's combat. Then it's. I usually go round because when it's sort of like a tense situation, I'll sort of just ask what everyone's doing. But yeah, so you pick up so you can write down. I just want to make clear. You can write down a silver knife on your sheet if you want to. I know. I gotta get.
Okay, I'm gonna like slip my knife back in my pocket and pull my crossbow and go see what I just watched them like beeline it towards.
Okay. So you step out of the back.
Yeah.
Make an observation check. And it's minus. Normally, do you have any? No, you don't.
I have my eye.
Right. So then you have no minuses.
Okay.
You have plus. Any normal plus you have.
Okay. So if I use the side of my crossbow, do I get the like plus 3 from that?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. So I
better roll under a 15, Judge.
Oh no.
Yeah. So you can see. You can see a little bit better than they can. You can see that there's like some sort of a man with like antlers, and he's sort of just like standing, sitting. You can't really see the bottom part of him because it's sort of behind a wall, but he's holding like a staff, and there is, and you notice that around where he is, the snow is like melted, and there's just green, lush, like vegetation coming to like, and the snow is, and wherever around his body or around where he's standing, there's steam coming up.
Okay.
And you can see his face better. He looks human, I guess. He's wearing like a moose sort of antlers headdress. What time is it?
8:30.
Okay. He's wearing like a moose antler headdress, and you can see that his face, he's got like red and green paint like mottled, not like stripes, but like kind of like almost like rudimentary camouflage maybe, sort of just like dabbed onto his face. Okay. And you can see that he's got like teeth, some sort of teeth that he's wearing around his neck.
Okay.
And he's looking right at you. Like he's looking right at you. Like you're looking down the scope and he's looking right at your eyes. And he's just not, his face is completely stony.
I'm going to like just keep taking aim on him. I'm not taking my eye off him for a second.
Okay.
It's gonna get in your way soon.
What's new? Let's do you next.
Okay, still moving.
Okay, so are you checking periodically back in that direction? What's that noise?
Josh made it.
Oh, good to see you. So you're not checking. You're not looking back. Okay, so you're just you're just walking off in this direction. You're now sort of behind these trees over here.
Okay.
Ruben. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it's your turn. So you're now maybe about halfway towards him, and as you're walking, you see like his other hand come up, and he holds his hand like stop, like this. Like he's telling you to stop, to stop walking or to stop moving.
I keep walking.
Okay. It is now your turn.
Okay, I haven't given up on my timid distraction idea.
Okay.
And so I start gearing up some pyrotechnics to set off.
What sort of pyrotechnics?
Some light explosion.
You know, the only thing you could potentially do would be to scoop some embers out of the fire.
Yeah. I have a lighter.
Yeah. But what would you light the lighter with? Like if you don't have any.
The only grenades we have are not that kind of grenade.
Yeah, and they're on his body.
Yeah. Actually, I have one kind of that grenade.
We've got the friggin' Dragon's Breath shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if I grab some of the embers with a shovel and I try and throw them at the horses that are responding?
You could do that.
Those 4 horses.
Scare the horses now.
Okay, sure. Roll on your dex.
Hey!
I got it.
Okay, so that was to stop from spilling embers onto the ground, which was probably the better one to pass. Now you have to roll again on your decks again to fling the ashes or fling the things towards the horse.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a +2 because it's pretty difficult to miss.
Yeah, okay.
So you're rolling dex +2, so under 12.
And I didn't
13.
get there.
Okay,
I got
so
7.
you miss the horses, but it hits the ground beside where the horse is, and that horse, so one of the horses spooks, and the other horse spooks, and the entire, so one horse disappears off in this direction, just running. The other horses spook, and they just run off this way with the caravan attached, and you disappear off into, you're in the caravan, disappearing off into the wilderness.
So
Bye, Montgomery.
Yeah,
So what happened to my horse?
your horse is
Because it would
here.
have been alongside.
Your horse
Okay.
is here.
Okay, so she.
Your horse is
Buttercup didn't take
still
off.
fine. No.
No. I
Okay,
just
cool.
spooked the horses.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright,
And there goes any cover.
Okay.
cool.
So Montgomery somersaults off here and lands and jumps to a tree and he just like re-aims.
Okay, well, like
Jump.
once he lands, and she's like, Montgomery, what the fuck is that?
I really don't know, but my guess would be that it's the Lord of the Forest.
Is this a good thing or no?
Probably not. But as long as we don't do any, and as he's talking, all of a sudden you just see like it just fades away, and then the snow's just, and all of a sudden you feel like before you didn't realize that you were like you didn't feel that it was cold, but all of a sudden it's like all of a sudden you feel the cold again, like you don't obviously, but everyone else you feel the cold again, and yeah, it just like melts away, and you see the moat sort of like disappear and fade into the background, and it's gone.
Shit. It's following the caravan. Well, I'm assuming that, like, I think I'd assume that I would put 2 and 2. Like, my character would assume that it's going after what's in the caravan.
You're not stupid. I mean,
Okay.
you might be. You would actually roll on IQ because these guys would know more because they saw Jim's bag getting. Oh, you saw Jim's bag getting.
I would have my bag with me.
Right? No.
It's a purse.
Yeah.
I've carried it with me at all times.
But you carry it with you?
I don't know if you would have honestly going out
I was
into
holding
the.
on to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Could they be after anything else in the caravan that we haven't known?
Well, if that's the case, if the bag is not in the caravan and the bag is with you, then the guy is still there.
Okay.
So
it's
okay.
I've always had it.
Okay. Okay.
So the guy's still there.
Well, I guess you would be holding on to it if it almost disappeared through the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you vanished off of the caravan. You're kind of out of the situation right now. Yeah, so the guy's just standing there, and like you said, he's sort of got his hand like this. You're still walking towards him. You get so the world around you, like not the world around you, but the ground around you, sort of like opens up and just like grabs onto your feet. Like the world, the snow around you or whatever, like your feet kind of like sink to the ground a little bit, and you're just like, and then it solidifies, and you're just like stuck. You can't even walk any further.
Huh.
Fuck it. I'm gonna call out to him. Like, what do you want?
The children.
you hear like this really, like almost whisper of a voice, but it's not actually speaking. It's in your mind.
Yeah.
And he just says, the evil that you carry is not permitted anywhere. If you do not destroy it, it will destroy you, it will destroy us, it will destroy everything.
We are taking it to be destroyed as we speak.
Do you know what it is? Do you know how to destroy it? You know nothing, human.
Well, I'm not exactly human, but we know people who do.
Approach.
Okay. I set my crossbow down on the ground as a sign of good faith and walk towards him.
Okay. You still got your knife in your hand? Or you?
No, it's in my coat.
Okay. Okay. So you walk past him.
I kind of like signal for you to hold while as I pass you. Because do they hear it too, or was it just...
Oh yeah, everybody hears it. Everyone hears the voice.
I'd probably stop then.
Yeah, sorry, everyone hears the voice in their head.
Okay.
And when you get to about the same distance as Ruben, again, he holds up his hand like that.
Okay.
You stop.
And I stop.
And you notice that Montgomery was walking beside you, and he doesn't have he's got his bow in his back, and he's just like, he's still got those weird glasses on that are like glowing, but other than that, he's like, he stops as well beside you. And do you turn to look?
Yeah.
So when you turn to look, everyone who's looking at this guy, it looks like he's looking at you.
Yeah,
Even if you're like over here looking at him this way, it looks like it's on one of those creepy paintings that the eyes follow you, except he's actually facing you. So no matter where you are, you're like, oh, he's there, and he just says, and you heard him say as well, approach. Are you going to approach him?
Everybody hears him say approach.
Except for you, because you're out, you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go walk over.
Okay.
Take off my knuckles too.
Okay.
You guys.
So yeah, he just basically he tells you the evil that you carry is known as the healing stone, and it is a piece of the cauldron of evil that started the apocalypse 25 years ago. And so, in order to mend the world, the fragment must be returned to the cauldron. And he believes that you don't have what it takes to do that. So he says, unless...
I rolled on my overconfidence.
Unless you manage to band together with friends and allies.
I'm getting...
This is not... he senses that you have liberated this from evil, but he doesn't. He still. He says he senses darkness within all of you, and unsure, and underconfidence, and unsurety.
Bust out that fast talk. Okay.
Just to let you know, he's got some pretty high minuses against fast talk, but debate maybe not. But you know, Ryan's not there.
Yeah, I'm not there. I'm creating away.
Oh, okay. I'll just try and talk to him normally for now.
Do you want to try and like stop the horses? Do you want to try and like?
No, I figure my guys are pretty useless too. I think you might have to be saved from this one.
Okay.
Or I mean, yeah. Yeah, because he doesn't even
do you have
magic.
Do you have cowardice or anything? Under disadvantages?
No, he wanted to play a character that was pretty clueless. He's very book smart, but not field smart. So he's sort of like he doesn't have any doesn't have a lot of combat skills. He has a lot of like combat paralysis and stuff. So I would definitely, I think that it's sort of like, it's a shame he's not here, but it's not out of character. So I wouldn't do something like retcon in practice. So.
Well, good sir, do you have a name by which I may address you?
Agronus.
Agronus. You may have lost faith in the hearts of men, for I have once too. But I've grown with these men, I have seen what we are capable of, and I believe we can change this world. And I'm going to take the chance to save this world. If you do not believe we have what it takes, you may strike me down here and now, because I will not yield to you, as I will not yield to any who try and stop me.
He laughs. Out of everyone here, you are the one that speaks of the goodness of man?
Yes.
Undead?
Yes. I chose this fate for myself to help my friends. If you...
You will be the undoing of the world. You are so close to this evil. The moment you smell it, you will be with it. and it will be with you, and you will strike down and kill all of your friends. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, the implication.
Yeah.
Well, I just get on my hand, like, get on my knees in front of him, like, then very well, sir. If you believe that's the case, then destroy me now.
Okay. He holds his hand up, like this, and you can feel like heat, even though you can't feel.
Yeah.
You feel a heat.
Okay.
Are you going to resist it, or are you going to just let it?
Like, does it feel like...
It feels uncomfortable, but it doesn't feel... It feels weird. I mean, obviously you feel heat when you shouldn't feel it.
Okay.
And maybe he's testing you, maybe he's going to kill you, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do.
I won't resist just yet.
Well, I do, because of me.
Yeah. Then I'm not going to resist just yet.
Okay. As you guys are watching, and as you watch, you see vines crawl out of the ground and curl around your wrists, and then where they are attached to, like, into the ground, it sort of like separates and dies, and sort of like the root comes away, but the vines are still around your wrists. And he says, "Your words sound true, but I do not trust the evil that dwells within you. This is a safeguard, not for me," and then he like moves his hand, "but for them."
I just sort of bow my head.
So Josh has neat bracelets now?
Yeah.
Plant life bracelets.
Will you release this man and we will take our leave?
Very well. And you can move again. You gonna attack him?
No.
Okay, I just thought I'd ask. No,
Not that stupid.
Oh, yeah, you're like, ah! Hey, what's your war cry?
And before, like, he's still just chilling there, right? He hasn't dissipated.
He's sort of just like got like this bemused look on his face.
Okay. Well, sir, if I may inquire one more boon, could you send that carriage back around? I believe our new friend has lost himself.
Says, "Your friend has more potential than all of you together. Look after him."
Very well, sir.
The caravan is stopped. The horses are grazing. No more than 50 or 60 feet up the road. And then as that, he like slowly like fades out back into the darkness, and again the cold. So you feel the caravan come to a sort of like a slow stop, and you can just hear like out the front of the caravan. And when you like stick your head out the front, you see that the two horses are there, and the third horse has returned, and there's a spot in front of, on the road that's like, this road is like dirty, gross slush. There's a spot of beautiful clover, and all the horses are like eating the clover.
I pick Josh up and dust him off.
I just sort of shake my head and make my way back over to my stuff.
So, even though you can't feel anything, you can feel these cuffs, and there's just a dull ache around them.
Okay.
It's arthritis.
Basically.
Yeah.
Motherfucker gave you arthritis.
Goddamn force nukes give me arthritis. God damn. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go pick my crossbow back up.
Okay.
And hop on my horse and like just slow trot along with these guys towards where the carriage is located.
And I'm frantically. Oh no, I'm still by myself.
Yeah, you're by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, you're sort of like just reading, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get answers, but there's no one to ask.
Yeah, there's no one to bounce your ideas off of or anything like that. So yeah, so you guys managed to get back to the caravan, and as you sort of all get back into the caravan, Montgomery's like, "What the hell did you guys find?"
It's called the Healing Stone.
Yeah.
It's part of the Cauldron of Evil.
I punch Eddie in the arm.
Like for real punch him, or like
just
kitty punch?
Not like kitty punch, but like just like a shut up, like a
Yeah.
And what happened? Where'd you go? Why did the carriage take off? I'm trying to get answers, but.
What do you mean?
Nobody's giving me the time.
You know why the carriage took off because you threw, threw the fucking things in the embers. You don't ask anybody that.
No, you're asking why is the carriage take off? You don't want us to know that you're the one who the horses.
What is
Lying really
Why? It's not the me.
Well, I come up. I show him my wrists. I'm like, does this mean anything to you?
So he's got like thorns like twisted around his wrist. You can roll on your magic skill again. You get.
That doesn't matter because I know way out.
Okay, yeah. So you
14.
don't really know. You can sense.
Yeah.
Again, because you have that mana sense skill, you can sense that the wristlets are glowing, and they're glowing with like a green.
And I have botany.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah. Well, they've got botany. You told me that. What else? What other? You have other skills?
Well,
Are there like nature
botany
skills?
is the most acute.
Okay, so botany would give you +2, so you can roll again on your magic.
Botany is
+2.
actually rated at 8. But
No, I know, but I'm saying because you have botany, it raises your magic skill by 2 temporarily.
there, I got that.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So you can sense that there is some sort of almost unbreakable, like you would call it like life magic. You don't really know. Again, there's like obviously there are going to be elementals. And the magic system, I can tell you this now actually because it would probably help. The magic system that it sort of exists in this world to some degree follows a very sort of traditional elemental style of magic where there are, of what you know, well, you're very skilled. So the average person that would study magic would know that there was 4 elements, right? Just like you normally think. But you know that there is the 5th element. Lulu Dallas multipass. Shut up. There's a 5th element which is called the void, which is like an absence an absence of direction. It's not chaos magic. Chaos magic is something that you have heard of, but you know very little of. But you know that you're one of the only people that have sort of surmised that there's this 5th element of magic, which is called void magic, which is, it's not evil, it's not good, it's just very powerful and very simple. Okay. And it's the most, you have to master all the other elements before you can start understanding.
Fuck.
What? I haven't seen Avatar, so that's something I'm missing.
No, that's just...
You haven't seen Avatar?
No.
You probably
Yeah,
like it.
it's quite enjoyable.
Is it?
It's not the greatest thing, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
First season's a little weak.
Yeah.
But it gets significantly.
How many seasons are there?
400.
Is it really like this
nine.
one?
I want to say 8 or 9.
Oh. Is there like a TLDR episode, like a movie I can watch or something?
Oh yeah, I know. Great. Sums the whole thing, right?
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so what's your?
Well,
are you gonna bring him up to speed
on
what he told you? Because he didn't hear any of the stuff.
So, yeah, as I was telling Montgomery Ward, before I was so rudely interrupted.
I hit you again. This time I'm hitting you for real.
All right, do it.
I'm pulling a punch. I'm like pulling my punch though. I'm not.
You gonna take it, or are you gonna parry?
I'm gonna parry.
Block with your shield. Boom.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna parry it. I'm gonna parry it.
Okay.
All right, with what you parry it with? You do like.
I won't hit it. No, just locking the arm away.
Do you have karate, Josh?
No, I separately.
Oh, then you can't. It's already a minus.
Okay.
If you're fighting against someone that has martial arts, that's the other thing with
No,
GURPS. If
I
you
feel
fight
like-
against people with the martial arts, you're brawling, you can't even get in there. And so you're at a -2 already. I
I
think.
feel like you like if you're more. I take the swing and you just put your hand up and like
You're
just like
like Neo in the Matrix, where it's just he realizes he's the one. He's just like.
Yeah, no kung fu. Basically, that's what I do. We found an artifact of great importance. It's called the Healing Stone. Apparently it's evil, but the name doesn't. I don't know. It's part of the cauldron of evil, which caused the great rift in the world 25 years ago.
This is what caused the rift.
It's part
And
of
you've heard and read. I mean, that the cauldron of evil, so to speak, is something that's been written about in all kinds of texts, but it's always got slightly different names. So most scholars have thought that it is just an abstract of something that happened, and not that it was a physical object that was actually a cauldron, and like why it was. Because basically, from what you know, and I can tell you this because this is written in the this is actually written in the in the history for this world. Like when I was making this world and I wrote up about it. Yeah. So supernatural evil exists within the world, birthed by a lack of belief in the light and salvation. Born from the bitterness of mankind who have given up hope, this evil force spawned from the cauldron of evil, buried at the root of a gigantic gnarled tree on the northern edge of the taiga. That is that was part of the original supernatural synopsis of the game that everybody got when they first started. So that was sort of per se a sort of the story, kind of, so to speak. And now you're learning that this cauldron exists potentially at this. Maybe it is at the root of this tree. Maybe it's on wherever it says it is. But that's actually fairly common myth, I guess. And anyone who knows about supernatural evil, which is most Sabbatarians, know this myth.
So, Agronus, the Lord of the Forest, said that we should destroy it, but I think we can use it for good.
Excuse me?
It's the Stone of Healing.
Well,
It's part of the cauldron of evil.
Yeah, I think he said you have to basically either destroy it or like put it back into heal the cauldron, and then that would undo the supernatural and like tap the evil, basically. That's the TLDR, you know.
Yes. I think it will be of great boon to us.
Okay. So my guy's still flipping through his paperwork. He's got no idea what this sac fetus thing is that he's never seen before, or what just happened.
You still haven't seen it. I haven't taken it out.
And do you guys think we should fix as a caravan before we make any plans?
Definitely.
This is clearly a little larger than all of us.
Not larger than Igor. Guy was freaking huge.
Yes, he was quite big.
I'm like a moose.
So you sleep for the rest of the night. There is no further disturbance, and the next day you make your way back to the caravan.
Yeah. Also, wait. So just to clarify, are there actual vines coming out of my wrist, or is it just kind of like a marking that resembles vines?
No, there's actual vines,
tattoo.
sort of.
Yeah,
it's not tattoo. It's actual It feels like it's like. It feels like it's alive. And like I said, it's like got this dull ache. But whenever you poke at it, or whenever you grab at it a little bit, you can feel it like as if it's inside your whole body, and it makes your whole. The moment it's like touching, I don't know if you've ever had when you have a tooth out or something, and there's an exposed nerve in your mouth, and you just lick it, and it's just this little touching a 9-volt battery to your tongue. It's that feeling of it doesn't hurt, but it's just really I want to avoid doing
it's
yourself.
unpleasant.
But if you accidentally knock it against something, it doesn't feel. It's just when you're
if I try and mess with it,
when you're sort of even having a look at it, it's just nope.
Okay.
So you managed to return back to the caravan.
Where's Brother Benedictus? 'Cause we have some
Big
stories
Ben.
for him.
Okay.
There's a dwarf that
So,
is like our boss.
I'm going to now read again the description of the caravan so that Ryan knows and is up to speed. And anyone else, I don't think we were streaming some of those early sessions, so I think this is good anyway.
I'm going to peek.
The caravan is the caravan of the Fraternitatus Sabbatarius. So basically, all the Brotherhood of the Sabbatarians is basically what it stands for, and it is a roving caravan of vehicles, some steam powered, some mostly horse-drawn carriages that travel around Russia between different locations, bringing about sort of salvation whenever there is some sort of supernatural evil to uphold. Here. So in the late 1800s, in the northern forest of the taiga is just basically the forest at the top of Russia. And just to give you like a sort of a real world example, the taiga is so large that if you were to start clear cutting it on the left hand side of the country and clear cut across the country to the other side, and as you went, you dropped seedlings. By the time you got to the other side, those first trees would be 100 years old. That's how long it would take you to like clear cut the forest. It's gigantic. Due to the boom in steam-powered vehicles, wood fuel for engines has become a birth to a number of industrial towns and settlements all over. You haven't seen very much steam-powered stuff because you haven't been to some of the bigger cities yet. Even the Bridgeport had some, but it wasn't one of the bigger cities. It's still pretty small small fry in terms of what you guys are used to. Due to the harsh conditions and the perilous landscape and the terrible weather and the cold, supply lines between the different villages are strained and leading to the need of protection services. And so there's a bunch of mercenaries that sort of, what's the word, protect or give you escort the supplies from place to place. And as those bands started to come up against various obstacles, they realized that there was a number of strange supernatural forces that were unexplainable. So as such, the Fraternitatus is a group of people that supply protection and eradication services for evil in the world, and that's what the caravan is. And so the caravan is comprised of a number of different vehicles. So here's the main vehicle in the caravan. It's a steam-powered tank, and that actually is the core caravan vehicle. Is over 100 years old, and despite being so ancient and battle-scarred, is well appointed inside, very, very large, and serves as the main living quarters for the armor bearer. He's known as, that's his title, and his brother Benedictus. It can easily outpace all the other various other wagons, but it maintains a ponderous pace so as to allow all within its range to be protected. So within its sort of within its radius, it's got some sort of protective field, some sort of blessing of some sort, unclear as to how it actually works. Then there's a muck wagon, as it's called, which is usually called the chuck wagon. This old wagon's been renamed the muck wagon because there's so much mud and filth on the weary trails of the taiga that mud and dirt ends up in all the food that's served. So when you eat food, it always has a little bit of a dirty taste to it because of the mud and everything. Belial's Bane is another one of the caravans that looks sort of like a weird castle. There's another one there. Belial's Bane is the home to the extremely eccentric Dr. Faustus Fromer. He's a self-professed expert alchemist. He creates the chemical components for various special equipment that's used by the Sabbatarians. He always tells tales of his youth as a demon hunter in the wilds of Tasmania. And then the last vehicle that these guys are very, very familiar with is Paul's Brooding Vessel, which is a gigantic, huge sort of RV that houses all of the recruits and most of the other people that work for and are other Sabbatarians. Yeah. So you guys have to figure out a name for your
Shaggy Wagon.
Is it the Shaggy Wagon? Okay.
Yeah.
The USS Rusty Trombone.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you guys have returned back to the caravan, and everyone is.
It's old Druid. It's spelled like SH apostrophe A G A G A I N.
That's cool. So you show up back at the caravan, and everyone is quite shocked to see you. Happy to see Montgomery Ward as well, and
What about all my friends that I made drinking?
Yeah, all those guys.
They're
all dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say half the guys we probably got recruited with are dead. Like
most of the guys are dead. I mean, there's a whole bunch of fresh faces in there that you don't recognize. It's probably been about hasn't been that long. It's probably been about maybe a month or so since you guys left. And so most of the people that are there are these bright-eyed recruits because they're still on the recruiting drive of going from village to village picking up newbies. So you guys are now looked upon as like the seasoned vets. And
so we're those cool guys that were walking by as we were recruited last time.
Exactly, yeah.
It's all come full circle.
It has. So Brother Benedictus takes you inside of his tank, and as you come in, he waves his hand like this, and as he waves it over you, all of the dirt and all, except for you, all of the dirt and all of the dust and all of the grime and all of the sweat is all just like pulled out of your clothes and just vanishes. And like there's a brief it's a brief second where you sort of smell it all like combined together, and then it's just gone. And you recognize right away that this is not channeled magic. This is just the work of an artifact. So an artifact, an artifact is, you don't have to roll for this, this is something you would know. An artifact is a magical item that is powered by using fatigue. So fatigue points are FP right here. They're powered by using fatigue, and they are magical items that are just, it's like flipping a light switch. If it activates and you activate it successfully, then it does this one task.
Okay.
And some of them are more powerful than others, and they all do different things. Most of these guys have a small collection of them. They're basically how Sabbatarians in general all are attuned to be able to use magic items without being trained in magic. They don't have the ability to cast magic or be attuned to weaving magic, which you do.
Okay.
But you can also use artifacts as well, but the benefit to using artifacts with you is that it costs you half the fatigue to activate them because they're very easy for you. They're like simple machines.
Okay.
So even though it would normally cost, let's say, someone like 4 fatigue to activate a certain object, it would only cost you 1 or 2 depending on how simple it is, because it's just so easy for you to be like, oh, this works like this. So Brother Benedictus gives you I guess you give him the lowdown, or who wants to? Do you want to give him like an actual thing, or do you want to role play that, or do you just want to sort of?
I guess we'll sort of just give him the straight story.
Yeah. Okay. He sort of.
And like I will be completely forthright about my condition too, just so that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah, I think he probably knows.
Oh, I know, probably,
but it's good to say it.
To say it, yeah.
Yeah. So he tells Brother Benedictus that he is essentially undead. He's not living. And the process in which it happened, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to. Let you tell him, because then I can go pee. Will you tell him the story about how you became who you are?
Okay.
Just because it works better from.
Well, essentially.
So starting at the beginning, we were on an elevator.
Yeah, I bad roll ended up like crippling myself from the legs down, which led to me having to be carted around by the party for a while till we met up with the other camp, and the guy that you were hanging out with essentially made me an offer that would essentially turn me into I'm more or less a zombie, but I still have like complete like self-control and a thought process, and like my bite doesn't affect other people. But in terms of like physiology, I'm essentially a walking corpse.
Right.
And originally there was like certain costs to it. Like I essentially had to like wind my heart. These guys didn't know that much at that point because there's essentially a device in my chest that was keeping like the undead from like the undead curse from just completely taking over.
Right.
But then when I saved his life, I ended up breaking that and essentially breaking even, so I'm only like half undead.
Okay.
It's still even not entirely clear to me. But no, I used to be able to.
I gathered that though,
Yeah.
from the way you
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Like, not that it was unfair to you.
Oh, yeah.
I gathered that you guys kind of undead.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a normal person. And essentially, well, I can do some other cool stuff too, but you'll find about that one. That's the reason I have the wolf eye, because I ended up having my eye shot out and I sewed a new one in. So I can do stuff like that. I haven't really gone too far into that yet, though. I would say still a Hulk out. That was cool.
Yeah.
But then, like when I broke the curse or whatever, that sort of went away.
Yeah, he killed a kraken.
Yeah. Because long story short, drank a bunch of blood that belonged to one of our other party members whose great ancestor was a elder vampire. So that like clicked into my physiology, and I just became like badass Dracula for about 10 minutes. Tore our kraken apart and then like transformed back.
I was wondering about the Dracula zombie.
Yeah, it was weird. Shit got intense. And then they tried to kill me, and then
Yeah, he's gone now.
I know. I'm just talking to myself at this point.
Well, you can talk to the camera.
Hi, Chris. Dad.
She's not watching.
I know. No one's watching.
I have one viewer.
I could put my penis on this table right now, and no one would see it until John went back and watched the stream later. Who knows? Maybe I've been resting my penis on this table all night and no one's noticed.
Like,
have you been?
That would be
have you been
depressing.
looking?
Yeah,
Exactly.
always.
Oh, fuck. You called my bluff.
Really want to get a chance to hand-to-hand fight someone soon.
This is the like build. We're probably not going to get to fight anything this session.
Not Which is good, because we almost fought Agronus.
Yeah. And I feel like he would have fucking wrecked our shit.
Huh.
So unbelievably hard. These fairies are assholes. So you're welcome, guys. Totally took the fall for that one. Wonder how I'm gonna pay for that later. A lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fail a roll.
Yeah.
And that failed roll is...
Okay.
So while I'm asking him, like, while I tell him what happened, I'm gonna ask. Well, I'm assuming we'll bring up what happened with the fucking tree beard back there.
Well, you probably bring that up. You
Yeah.
probably also have to bring up what happened to
Oh yeah.
Igor as well, because he was like one of the original
Yeah.
recruits, and now you've got two new people that are not actually like official Sabbatarian members.
He's my squire, though.
I feel like we would vouch for them pretty well.
If we're going to play for another hour, I'm gonna...
We're not. We played until 9:30.
Okay.
It's always 9:30 when we stop.
Oh,
So we're gonna stop probably.
I thought it was 10.
No, okay.
So I'm gonna
I don't
I'm gonna ask him if he knows anything about what's going on with my wrists too at the same time.
He says that you should probably. I mean, he's fairly clueless for that sort of
Yeah.
thing. You know, once you mention, you know, who you saw and what happened, you know, he says that you should probably see Frommer, and he'll be able to give you more information about that. Because
Figured as much.
he also says to you that he believes that you know, if you've been sort of charged with this task, that perhaps either that Montgomery Ward might accompany you for some of the adventure, and perhaps you might find other allies along the way, because
It's a tall order.
you know all of these stories of this cauldron were all believed to be just happenstance and stories, and people just thought that the evil's always been around, and it just for whatever reason came about. But now realizing that there's something that is actually able to be potentially healed or addressed or solved, so that the evil will go away or will be lessened or won't continue to birth. I mean, he has no clue what this might be, but from some of the stories he's heard, and again you've sort of heard inklings of, is that the where the evil stems from. If this cauldron is in fact a real object, that you're basically stepping into hell. That hell itself exists on this planet, and it's up in northern Russia somewhere, and and stepping into there to survival is incredibly unlikely, let alone getting close enough to whatever this thing is to be able to heal it. And how are you going to heal it, and how is this stone going to be returned to this cauldron? Maybe this Treebeard this druid, this lord of the forest was speaking in tongues, and he's sending you to your deaths because he knows it's the easiest way to get rid of this artifact. We've only seen one fetus used in the past, and it was used to house a holy relic. That was disguised so that we could transport it to one of the major cathedrals in St. Petersburg to be installed there as a bastion against evil. So that there's one section of the world in St. Petersburg, this city, where it is completely untouched by evil, and so the fact that this might potentially have an evil artifact is, I don't know how it would be tested, or how you would open it up to check what it is or what it looks like, or even if you're going to place it into this to heal this object, when you open up the thing to take the piece out, how can you be assured that how you'll interact with the object? And all this kind of unsurety is swirling around the thing. Nevertheless, I mean, if he believed that you were Fraternitatus believed that you were the one to take this to the cathedral, then, or not to the cathedral, to the cauldron, then you are more or less charged with doing so. Whether you accept or whether we help or how that looks is entirely up in the air at this moment. But I believe that now that we should all rest and have a hearty meal, and do not speak to the other recruits or the other members about this until tomorrow, until I can speak to who needs to get spoken to first. Then we can move ahead. It's a true blessing to have you all back with us again. Some new faces.
All. Gosh, me.
Please eat well. Please, like I said to my to the other Sabbatarians, please just treat yourselves as honorary Sabbatarians for the time being. And please do not speak to the other members. You will see they all have a crest on their clothes. You will know who they are. Do not speak to them about anything that we've spoken about in this trailer, because it is not fair, and I will not tolerate it. Zero tolerance. Thank you. And lets you go off, and you guys head off to a dinner and a bit of a rest, and we'll stop. We'll stop there for the night. It's a good place to stop.
The call to adventure begins.
All right, cool.
Oh, probably.
Well, thanks for watching. Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, you know it.
What up, Clip Clops?
That's racist.
Alright, I'm going to stop the stream. Jim, which way are you heading back?
Down the parkway.
Down the Vanier Parkway?
Yep.
Towards the highway?
Yeah.
Do you potentially mind giving